signal to wrap up, or a 20-second signal, I guess it is, then they'll have a 3.5-minute warning. So let's hear from the mayoralty candidates. First up is Janice Jackson and Gary Meachy. You'll be standing by after Janice wraps up so we don't waste time. Okay, walking up, okay? Thank you. Here we go. Let's cue 3, 2, 1 to Janice.
Thank you. Can you hear me? Perfect. Thank you for coming today. No term goes without its challenges, and this term was consumed by COVID for 2 of the 4 years. We worked hard to keep our community safe, and we not only pulled through the pandemic relatively unscathed, we managed to accomplish a lot. In Wyerton, we upgraded Blue Water Park by paving bike paths. We purchased $150,000 in new furniture. We're building a permanent band shell. The pier is being repaired. Plus, we just installed all new fencing at the Ball Diamond for safety. Infrastructure and road-wise, well, we reconstructed Mary Street, Burford Street, Spring Creek Road, Purple Valley Road, and we have secured the funding and will soon begin the reconstruction of Gould Street, Pengali, and Elm Street. These road projects alone amount to an investment of just over $24 million. Burford Street, as you know, also got a complete streetscape overhaul with the final lift of pavement going up in a few weeks, and shade sails are about to be installed. We work with ExploreNet to bring new fiber optics into Wyerton, and we've now seen 72 kilometers of new fiber in South Bruce Peninsula. We created a new seasonal transit service that loops from Owen Sound into Hepworth, Wyerton, and Sauble Beach. We supported the Wyerton Hospital with a $100,000 grant, and we contributed $50,000 to the joint Sauble-Wyerton doctor recruitment team. On the development side, we saw 24 new homes built at McNaughton and George, with the same development soon beginning across the street. Currently under construction is a 6-unit waterfront condo on Isaac Street, plus an upcoming 10-plex on Dawson. Hepworth currently has an 8-plex under construction on Queen Street, and council just approved another 10-home development to be built 2 lots west of that. To help address affordable housing, council is one of the first towns in Ontario to make tiny homes legal, and we're partnering, as you know, with the Propeller Club to create a multi-unit affordable apartment complex. We also saw a 4-unit community living apartment go up on Mary Street, and we just approved a 9-unit apartment building on William. To increase your ability to participate in council's work, we purchased a technology to broadcast our council meetings, and then we created a YouTube channel so that you could watch our latest meetings at any time of the day or night. We redesigned our town webpage, and we purchased a platform called Open Mic, where we can garner your thoughts and ideas on important issues. We're also on Twitter and Instagram, plus we publish what we call the Council Brief, which gives you a Coles Notes version of our meetings and the decisions that we've made on your behalf. These are some of the accomplishments that pertain to Wyerton. My council has worked very hard to bring you as many enhancements as possible without breaking the bank. In fact, we have completely eliminated our town's tax-supported debt, and we reduced our user pay debt to a paltry $126,000. This is rare in the municipal world, so with virtually no debt at all, we're in an amazing financial position. Plus, we brought you some of the lowest municipal property tax increases in all of Bruce County. We want to keep going. I love working with this council, and I truly hope that you re-elect us, because I'm eager to work for you and lead this town for another 4 years. Thank you so much.
Gary Meachy, mayoralty candidate, Gary Meachy.
Good afternoon. Your presence shows that we share an interest in the well-being of the town of South Bruce Peninsula and all who live within it. I hope you picked up my flyer that indicates my focus, but I look forward to learning your concerns and the direction you want to see the community move in. I'm Gary Meachy, a resident of the town of South Bruce Peninsula for more than 46 years, the last 18 years as a permanent resident and 28 years as a seasonal resident. I have 24 years municipal experience plus 18 years strong business skills. Owner-operator of Sauble River Camp and Spry Lake Camp. Seeking your support to become your mayor of the town of South Bruce Peninsula, to work with councillors, to listen to your concerns, to provide you with common sense government and to communicate openly so that you know what decisions are being made and how the money is being spent. On May 2nd, I declared my intentions to run as your mayor, showing you, the community of South Bruce Peninsula, that I am serious to represent you as your mayor and to be your voice in council, to provide leadership in council, to work together and in harmony for the benefit of the taxpayers and the community, and to resolve issues facing us when and as they arise. A first step will be to have an independent financial audit of the town's finances and liabilities, which will direct council's decision-making to be shared with taxpayers. Transparency, accountability, and communications will be central to council's decisions. Input and advice from knowledgeable residents of the town of South Bruce Peninsula is our greatest asset. Other important issues addressed include water, the ward system, Sabo Beach, further discussion with representatives of the fish farm and Blue Water Park. Pertaining to water, the former Amwell Township Reserve Well System, the supply, maintenance, and costs are concerns that need to be identified and resolved for the benefit of the users. Once costs are identified, any information will be shared with all who pay a water bill. A discussion with taxpayers about implementation of a ward system that will provide each ward with an identified representative and a mayor and deputy mayor voted at large. Sabo Beach. Develop a plan for maintaining the beach, environmental protection, accommodating tourists, while protecting property owners' rights, especially during the busiest season times. Rebuilding a positive working relationship with our neighboring municipalities. The fish farm. Residents from Colpoys, Burford Lake, Mallory Beach, Wyerton provided feedback on the proposed fish farm that they don't want and are not in favor of, and I myself support the residents fully. Blue Water Park. Having knowledge of the old grocery store where and possibly having a pending offer on the property makes me think they require more property to build a big hotel. Our parklands are not for sale. Blue Water Park belongs to the residents of the town of South Bruce Peninsula. I am committed to work hard for the South Bruce Peninsula as your mayor on your behalf to make the town of South Bruce Peninsula what we all want. We have great challenges and great opportunities, and with your help, we will meet them and make this town to be proud of. Thank you for your trust in me, and I hope to use my experience to benefit the town of South Bruce Peninsula in the future.
And the third mayoral candidate is Don Tedford. Don.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the Wyerton and South Beach Chamber of Commerce for putting this all candidates meeting on. Yeah, my name is Don Tedford. I lived in the Grey Moose area my whole life and graduated from Fanshawe College in 1970. I'm married. I have 2 boys I raised at Sabo Beach. After 6 years of working in construction, I started my municipal career right here with Amwell Township in the town of Wyerton. It was a very enjoyable thing to start back then. It's now the town of South Bruce Peninsula amalgamated. I was a trustee in the school board from 85 to 97, and after amalgamating with Grey County, I was also chair of the board in 1993. 1990, I started Donnelly Tedford and Associates. It's a company that provides design and expertise on building code and zoning bylaws, and I do give opinionated evidence. I've spoken to numerous town and South Bruce Peninsula residents over the last few weeks since my last candidates meeting, and there are issues that I can touch on a few very quickly. The lack of communication there seems to be between council and the residents. The parking issue at Sabo, and also at the Blue Water Park and in certain areas in the wider. And the STRAC, the short-term rental and the municipal accommodation tax, doesn't seem to have started off on a very good foot and certainly should be reviewed. There's definitely, it seems to be too much legislation, too much litigation, not enough research or discussion, and finally coming up with a solution. The town hub is a very exciting thing. Not too many people know too much about it, but I agree the Blue Water Park is a beautiful, beautiful spot. I voted down there for 25 years, and it's just a great area. Economic development, I believe in new jobs, and I believe they should be created in harmony with our area. I go back to the days when the quarry was not wanted there, and now the quarry is supported. So it's something you have to work towards and fit in and make it work with the environment first, and then the citizens, and then the town will actually make the decision. The doctor recruitment, if you look at the sometimes today, cannot be ignored. It has to be continued to be reviewed all the times. I'm currently still with the town of Hanover, and if elected, I would be retiring, and I will relocate to my home in Sept. This change in my career will allow me to continue working with the public as I like doing. My past experience, the 47 years with municipal experience, on the school board, working with the province, doing training, and I'm prepared to work with the town and the citizens with that same capacity. As your mayor, I'm prepared to listen, communicate, and with council members, and make every decision that is made in the best interest of all the citizens, all the residents of the town. I will always balance budgets. I will use government money wherever I can get it to make sure our infrastructure gets done in a safe and mannerly fashion, and there should be a road needs study done to show where you want to spend that money. We'll put the environment first again. We need to create a growth plan. The county is starting one right now. Excuse me. And we need to start a growth plan as well to know where we want our town to grow and how we want it to grow. So on October 24th, please vote Don Teku, and thank you very much.
Now moving on to the deputy mayor category, we have 3 candidates, and first up today is Gwen Gilbert for deputy mayor. Gwen. 3 minutes, sorry, 3 minutes for the deputy mayor and council candidates.
Hello everyone, I'm Gwen Gilbert, and my political experience started 35 years ago, back in the 80s as a supporter to my husband's 16-year political career, after which I myself spent 7 years on local council. I have many municipal administration, finance, emergency management, and leadership training courses all under my belt. I owned and operated 3 successful businesses for 30 plus years in this area, all of which have given me the tools to represent you as a very experienced, knowledgeable, and educated, common sense deputy mayor. Lately, I've been very concerned with some decisions at the council table, huge community-changing decisions affecting our health, our heritage, our finances, our biosphere, made with little or no community input nor consideration of consequences. Specifically, I'm very concerned about the large unbudgeted expenditures, the proposed industrial fish farm, the unaffordable and ridiculous hub, the beach destruction, and lack of a beach management plan, the future of our 100-year-old Blue Water Park, the lack of respect for our heritage and our neighbors, and how did losing our 17% ownership of our Stobble School ever happen? But on a happier note, with my many experiences and proven know-how, and with all council and all community voices heard, I know we can address these concerns and move ahead. We'll work with local environmental groups to proudly fly the blue flag again with a beach and sustainable tourism management plan. We'll form an environmental committee with climate change initiatives and resurrect the heritage committee. We'll cement the doctor recruitment committee with policies so that it will be difficult for any future council to ever remove the town again from the responsibility of protecting our health. We'll work towards fair representation at the council table, and we'll fix and upgrade our roads and sidewalk systems with an increased budget and review recent changes to our policies and bylaws. We will take care of our less fortunate. will follow the budget with fiscal responsibility and lower or eliminate some of the new user-paid programs that have kept tax increases down at the expense of a few. Paid parking will be reevaluated, and our very own citizens who subsidize parking expenses through their property taxes will be encouraged to once again visit Saddle Beach with a free parking pass. Our biosphere will be protected and respected. That means no industrialized fish farm. And we will build respectful relationships with our neighbors again. We will once again steer this ship. My past experiences will move these initiatives ahead. But first, let's start the new council off with a clean slate so we know exactly where we stand with our finances and lawsuits. A forensic audit must be the first item of order. Thank you.
Candidate for Deputy Mayor, Anne Marie Hadcock.
Let me begin by saying thank you to all the constituents for coming out this afternoon and to the brave candidates that threw their hats into the ring. Welcome. We are all here for a very important reason. This forum will help decide the future of South Bruce Peninsula. I ask you to embark on this journey with me, Anne Marie Hadcock, as your future Deputy Mayor. The residents of South Bruce Peninsula are a strong bunch, consisting of hard-working families, knowledgeable seniors, and selfless volunteers. And I respect these people immensely. I know the majority of good things that happen in our community happen through the efforts of our local service clubs, charities, and nonprofits. It's the work of volunteers and not the actions of career politicians that make our community better. I'm here to represent you, the community voice. As a volunteer myself, I know the countless hours spent helping others is enormous. Time spent grant writing and fundraising, all to build community. We do our work because it's necessary, essential, and because we care. I'm running for Deputy Mayor to continue this work. I'm not a career politician. I'm not in it for the money or the power. I'm a community builder and I want to help people. I'm here to listen, work hard, and improve the overall health and well-being of South Bruce Peninsula residents. So what is community building exactly? Community building is about bringing voices together through open forums and idea sharing. It's about building the town we all want to live in, within a framework of transparent and accountable governance. It's providing a means for people to sustain thriving livelihoods for themselves and their families. This includes access to education, healthcare, affordable food sources, a successful small business economy, adequate infrastructure, public safety, access to recreation, environmental stewardship, and attainable housing. As your Deputy Mayor, these will be my top priorities. Let's go back to the topic of transparency. What does that word really mean? It means a government that builds trust by acting openly, providing citizens with upfront knowledge of its decisions, policies, and actions. It's providing a clear sense of responsibility and assurance that the government is being effectively run. A transparent government abolishes systemic corruption and believes in accountability. It makes sure that citizens know exactly where and how their hard-earned taxpayers' dollars are being spent. It's made up of a council that listens to people and speaks up for their rights. A council that believes in fairness, builds bridges, shunning divisive politics. Trust brings community together, creating effective communication and mutual respect as we work together toward common goals. This is the type of government that I strongly believe in, and the government that you deserve. I'm committed to doing things differently in South Bruce Peninsula. I'm asking you to mark your ballot for change and demand more from your elected officials. We can do this together if you vote Anne Marie Hadcock for Deputy Mayor.
Candidate for Deputy Mayor, Jay Kirkland.
Thank you. And I too would like to thank everybody for coming out, and good luck to all the candidates for putting your name forward. And it's nice to see a nice mix of young and I just want to say old because I am getting gray hair, so it's always good to have that mix on council. I'd like to first start with apologizing that I couldn't be at the all candidates meeting in Saddle Beach, and once again send my apologies for that. So, introduction, my name is Jay Kirkland. I've been in the area my whole life, fourth generation on a farm that's been owned since 1893. My daughter, Jaylene, is taking over the farm and will be the fifth generation. I bring a business sense to the council table, and I have been self-employed for most of my life. My wife Becky and I have 3 kids and are now the new proud grandparents of 3 grandchildren, all born within 3 weeks of themselves. So it's been quite a busy June and summertime. So very proud of that, and like spending time with my grandkids. It sure puts a different perspective on what your daily things are doing. So I'm proud to have been on council representing you, the taxpayers, for 5 council terms. I'm presently your deputy mayor. I'd like to go over a few of the issues that our council is dealing with. Some council don't have dealings with them, but there's still issues in our town. The new town hall, which is called the hub. We have two locations that we're dealing with. I'm a big believer, and we do need a new town hall. We're putting what I consider good money into a bad situation on a building that needs a major renovation. So it's time to really look at something that the town can grow into for the next 50 years, which is bigger pieces of property and will allow us to do more things for you, the taxpayer, in the future. As I have said, I am a believer that we do need a town hall. There is an arena proposed, there's an aquatic swimming pool proposed. To me, these are things to look at in the future. I don't believe the town of South Bruce Peninsula is ready for an aquatic center. It's nice to look at it. I know we can afford to build it, but can we afford to run it on the monthly expenses in the future? Those things are still to be discussed. So once we get through that, then we'll know better, but I need some convincing on that. So the fish farm, yes, that's a controversial issue throughout our municipality. I do believe, and I do not support a fish farm that is going to not put in a proper sorry, my time is up. Thank you.
Thank you. Matt Arthur, we have 10 candidates running for council, and just for the candidates' information, please step up when you see the other person about to finish. Step up so you can step right in, and we'll save time. So this is the 10 candidates for council. They get 3 minutes each. Matt, you're on.
Thank you to all South Bruce Peninsula Conservative citizens and to all chamber members for hosting this debate. My name is Matt Arthur. I'm 51 years old. I'm married to Sandy for over 20 years, and we have 2 grown children that live in this area. I ran a successful small business in Wyerton called Wyerton Heritage Motors for 29 years, which I retired from. I bring to you my strengths that I believe would help as a counselor, being able to work well with others, having very good communication skills, making key financial decisions for today and the future, being able to find solutions to problems without conflict. Our country's economy is under huge stress with the cost of living and inflation at 7.6, the highest it's been at levels in decades. The time is now to control spending and to only put tax dollars to essential projects and prepare for the future by setting goals for infrastructure and development second, and the environmental matters first. With winter ahead and costs of food, heating, and electricity all way too high, we as a community need to support our vulnerable. Food banks and programs, and any tax dollars that could help the others be provided. I see a lot of promises made by fellow candidates. I'm here to tell you that without knowing what previous council has officially passed and knowing my role and ability as an official elector to council, I am not prepared to make false promises. I'm here to present the people of the town of South Bruce Peninsula with honesty, integrity, open-minded financial decisions that will be improving our way of living today and for the future. I don't have all the big for all the questions that are asked. I know there's a lot of concerns on the hub, as far as the land claim, parking, the old grocery store. Those are the answers that we're going to come up with, but until we know what our ability to do as a counselor, I can't give you a straight answer on that. But I will give you an honest answer when I know the right answer as far as the ability to look into it further. But as far as my commitment to the job, I do believe I'll do a great job as a counselor, and I appreciate your vote for Matt Arthur. Thank you.
As Terry Bell takes his place at the microphone, I want to note that Caleb Hall cannot be here. He's a council candidate. He is absent. He's ill, and we wish him all the best. And his literature, I'm told, is outside. So let's hear from Terry Bell. Thank you, Terry.
Hello, everybody. Good to see all of you in attendance and supporting the community. We live in a great democracy, and it's a privilege to be able to run for office. Wyatt's been my family home for 35 years. I retired from the OPP after 30 years service. My first involvement in municipal politics was back in 1992 when I was appointed as a member of the Wyerton Recreation Committee. I was then elected by you to represent you at the Blue Water District School Board. At that period of time, the board was conducting ARC, accommodation review studies, and Saddle Beach School was one of them that was targeted. I fought hard to save the school, and we did. I also served on the board of the Bruce County Children's Aid Society, and I'm currently the chair of the Safe Communities Committee. Some of the initiatives that we've tried to take on, number one was stunt driving, trying to keep the lunatics off 6 Highway from going 140 kilometers an hour. I'm happy to say that in the last couple of years, the data statistically says that has slowed down by 40%. As chair of the community's safety committee, we also looked at safety at Saddle Beach. We were able to provide 3 beach bikes for the OPP policing, and their patrol started 2 years ago. AED units, there were 3 AED units that were located on the beach in various locations in case of an emergency, that they would be available to help somebody in trouble. Community involvement. I volunteered at the Salvation Army through their youth camps and kettle drives, the food banks, and I've been coaching sports teams and umpiring minor ball, which I've done for about 40 years. Probably the oldest umpire in the world, I don't know. I look back on this term as counselor and the lessons I've learned. First, it's a much more complex and demanding position than I expected, with major responsibilities. I've learned it's more important to listen than to talk. There's a slogan that we're all familiar with these days about every child is important. Well, I believe as a politician, as a citizen, that every voice is important. We must make sure our lines of communication with our citizens is always open and welcome. And because I'm the only counselor living in Wyerton, I've had residents come to my home with their concerns, and I'm more than happy to welcome them. I've never missed a single council meeting in 4 years because I believe that dependability is essential. You have to have the time to take research every issue we face and the courage to make tough decisions and be aware of the impact they may have. Soon after we were elected, we plunged into COVID. Thank you very much.
Kathy Durst is next. Just a reminder to the remaining candidates, when you see the 20-second signal, please get ready to replace the present speaker. That way we'll save time. Kathy Durst, councillor candidate.
Thank you very much. My name is Kathy Durst, and I live in Home Bay. First of all, I want to thank the Wyerton, our Chambers of Commerce, for organizing this important event, and I thank you all for attending here today. Building and sustaining a vibrant, healthy, and prosperous town to live, work, and play in is, as Terry says, extremely complex. Over the past 4 years, the town's strategic plans, technical studies, community engagement strategies, communication tools,
and most often daily interactions and conversations with residents and businesses, I have identified major issues such as increased demand for services, programs, and facilities while achieving fiscal accountability, solutions to address water, wastewater services to support development needs and growth, and provide safe, clean drinking water, having a range of housing options for people of all ages, community health and well-being, digital connectivity for everyone, supporting public safety, home-based businesses, and remote learning, balancing economic development and environmental stewardship in a nature-based economy, that is rocks, trees, water, and tourists, transportation and managing our roads, bridges, and facility assets. Addressing these issues requires, and you deserve, a council that takes seriously robust community engagement and communication strategies to ensure all voices and perspectives can be heard. A council that makes evidence-based decisions after lively, inclusive debate that respects all perspectives. A council that adopts a collaborative approach, recognizing that partnerships with senior levels of government, our neighboring municipalities, service organizations, and institutions is critical to town success. A council who is recognized and trusted to be open, honest, and transparent. A council who celebrates individual and community successes. I will ensure that this continues to happen. To this, I bring as my role as councillor an accomplished public service career that began in 1970, 35 years of which I've spent in municipal government. My extensive graduate and postgraduate education focusing on how to deliver excellence in administration and governance in municipal service. My reputation for spending as much time in the community as I do on my council duties. In this way, I can champion those service organizations that are the bedrock of our community, meet and talk to those who are struggling, provide information in this issue resolution. Using my education and experience to assist town organizations to develop their own strategic directions. My reputation as hardworking, accessible, open, and accountable, whose service has always been underpinned by honesty and integrity, energy and enthusiasm, and a necessary sense of humor. And I promise to you that if re-elected, I will continue to build on that reputation, working hard for you as I always have. Thank you.
Candidate for Councillor, Jerry Hinomatter.
Hello, everyone. I want to thank the organizers for putting this on. And I want to thank all of you for coming out. It's, obvious that you are very concerned about your community and where it's going in the future. And, so my name's Jerry Hinomatter. I live here. I have family here. I was born and raised in Hanover. And then, went off to college and returned to the area. And I haven't spent all of my life here, but I've spent all of my life pretty much in rural communities. And I've been self-employed. I know, how to, manage finances and all of the things that matter to business and community. I've made a difference in a few of the communities that I've lived in, and that's what I want to do here because my family's here, just like your family's here probably, and that's important. Where we're heading into the future, we really have a lot of things that we have going on here, and our families have to come first. It's not just about my family, it's about your family. That's important. And, I just, all of the problems that we have in our community also are, my problems and my family's problems. I'm certainly very much aware of, the lack of affordable housing. And it doesn't just start here, but we can have good solutions here for our people. Why are there people living in tents in our community? And it's not just that. Our seniors can't afford housing. And even people who, You know, someone who earns $50,000 a year should only be paying $1,200 a month for rent or housing. And that's just not there anymore. You know, so housing is a big deal, and our healthcare is another big deal in our community. We need more doctors, and we need, you know, a walk-in clinic. For someone who doesn't have a doctor and who has a serious health issue, to have to go to the hospital once a month and wait 6 to 8 hours to get their prescriptions for the month. You know, we have to make these kinds of changes. I'm all for prioritizing that. I want to protect our environment. I want to see, you know, people with the knowledge giving us what we need to move on into the future and protect our environment as well as our living. Thank you.
Candidate for council, Bill Klinkenberg.
Hello, I'm Bill Klingberg. I've lived in the area for 32 years, marrying a local farm girl, and together we have raised two wonderful children who also have families and live in this area we have called home. I bring 16 years of local government experience in building, planning, parks and recreation, and economic development. Trained in local government brings comprehensive understanding of how a municipality runs and ought to be run. My reputation is being someone who is approachable, will return your call, sit down, have a chat, and listen to your thoughts and ideas. In the past few years, I've seen and heard negativity in our town. Our relationships with our partners at all levels have deteriorated. Local businesses, volunteer groups, the school board, doctor recruitment have all been affected. Disputes among each other, legal battles that don't progress the interests of the town, questionably planned infrastructure projects, and what appears to be ad hoc decisions on where to spend money and place future municipal amenities. In our 2021 asset management plan, 85% of our roads, 95% of our sidewalks, 40% of our buildings, and 45% of our vehicles are listed as poor or very poor condition. I would like us to step back, reassess, develop a plan, and get back to the basics. Whether you call this municipality home or home away from home, I want to ensure that local government works hard for you. You should be respected and feel represented in this community. You should have the opportunity to address council in person, and it is crucial for council to have open and wholesome discussions. Eliminate unnecessary closed sessions, keeping municipal business transparent, and council accountable. Balanced representation is something that resonates with many and deserves attention. Being more deliberate in planning for future expenditures, asset management will allow projects to be fully funded in advance. When provincial grants become available, the complete project can be accomplished. Equipment and infrastructure can be planned for and paid for. Economic development needs to be prioritized, supporting our local businesses throughout the municipality and promoting them. A successful business will not only reinvest, but also attract new businesses to the area, keeping locals of all ages employed. We need to be more engaged with our youth. Encourage them, support them, so that they know they can be successful here at home. Finally, we need to dust off the studies, have a plan to move forward, be more deliberate in determining where improvements are required, keeping our municipal roads and sidewalks safe. A 3-minute opportunity is a short time to discuss my entire platform, but really it's about getting back to the basics, strengthening our core, and being responsible. Together, we can make our community even greater. Thank you for your support.
Councilor candidate Crystal Marler. Crystal.
Hello, my name is Crystal Marler, and I've lived here for 15 years in Purple Valley. I'm going to give you a few reasons why I'm running for council. 3 minutes is not enough time. But first and foremost, I often say I hate politics. Maybe it's just politicians in general. My dad used to say in politics, you vote for the one that will screw you over the least. This seems to be the case, but I don't think it's right. We need a change, which is why I'm running. The other reason, well, if you didn't know and you can't tell, I'm not afraid to speak up. I have an open and share my opinions and enjoy having good debates with people, especially with ones with different views than mine, because I have an open mind to new possibilities. I like finding middle ground whenever possible. I have ideas and opinions on things going on in our area. I love our small town feel and want to keep it that way, but also understand we need to grow, so let's do it wisely. I'm not against all fish farms, but I do oppose this industrial fish farm and hope we can stop it from going through properly. I believe housing solutions are a must. We can't wish and expect developers to come in and build low-income housing. This is an issue that we as a municipality and county need to tackle by looking at provincial grants and other funding. Where I was born, there were trailer parks where you owned a mobile home and leased the land. Many places are starting to build tiny home communities. My hope is we can start one here too. Housing problems are not only for the unemployed, it's for the working class as well. We need to pause what seems to be a push for this $50 million hub and the deficit that comes along with it, and make sure it's worth it. I feel other ideas should be explored. Our beach needs a maintenance plan, and I'm sure there's a way for that to happen. We need to build a good relationship with the First Nations people, and I don't see how we can do it when people keep saying that sentence, we will fight for our beach. Courts are making the beach decision, and whatever outcome, we need to respect it and move forward. I feel we should showcase our biosphere area by ensuring our communities are sustainable. There are roads made out of recycled plastic that are cheaper than asphalt. I learned them from youth in our area. Wouldn't that be amazing to do here? I've been looking into surrounding areas and what they are implementing. I've been researching and learning about politics and how to have a successful municipality. I know I have a lot to learn, but I hope you will allow me to bring not only my ideas, but your ideas to council. It takes a village. We need to work together. This community isn't only for us and for our seasonal visitors, it's for our youth. We need change, and I hope everyone uses their right to vote and votes for what is best for this whole area.
Up next is Councillor candidate Craig Stauffer.
Good afternoon. My name is Craig Stauffer, and I am running for councillor in the town of Southwest Peninsula. Thank you for being here today, and thank you to the Wyerton and Sawville District Chambers of Commerce for hosting these meetings. A little bit about me and why I feel I would be a great representative for you. I moved up here about 14 years ago, a few years after I attended college. When I moved back home, I gave birth to a beautiful daughter, which then led to my eyes being open to what programs and services were available in our community, which led me to begin attending the Wyerton Salvation Army Church. I then became a Sunday school teacher. This led into becoming a youth mentor in several different programs. I was a day camp, summer program leader, a pioneer club leader, mom and tot group leader, basketball camp coordinator. In addition, I also volunteered with a multitude of various other initiatives, including maintaining the community gardens, fundraising dinners, the food bank, and anything else that required someone to help. I then transitioned to work as a residential support assistant during the pandemic. I felt this strong calling to help after witnessing such fear and unknowns enter our community. I was grateful to provide support to seniors during a time when they were not able to see family and friends. I had many insightful conversations, which I will hold with me for several years to come. Our seniors hold so much wisdom. I would like to see their voice heard, as well as everyone else's in our community. I am now incredibly blessed to work with children. Each day I am reminded of why I chose to run, to help secure a better tomorrow for everyone, from our youth to our seniors. I would like to see our council continue to hear what you have to say. Work with you so that our town is one you are proud and happy to reside in. I am pretty proud to reside here. I believe our current council has done an excellent job, and I hope to build on what initiatives and programs are currently in place by providing a youthful perspective and positive, progressive ideas. Specifically, I would like to explore affordable housing, doctor recruitment, and I would like to see our beach restored back to the way it was when we were permitted to maintain it. I pride myself on the following core values: honesty, respect, and empathy. I believe in full transparency. Make no mistake, come voting time, please know and remember, I am here for you, to advocate and represent you. Vote me, Craig Stauffer, for councillor.
Thank you.
Councillor candidate Anna Vukovic. Then after this, we'll be going to the questions from the chamber.
I just want to mention something. Yes, and I want to be talking to the same.
Audio. Start over, okay, please?
18th of September 1969, my husband Marco and myself landed in this beautiful country called Canada. We came with $40, 40 pounds of personal items. That's all we were allowed to bring in. With 2 college diploma in our pockets, but we couldn't do anything with it because we didn't speak English. We still don't. I still have accent, and I probably carry this to the rest of my life. First time when I went for a council 2000, good friend of ours in Oliphant, Thomas Somerville, he's not with us anymore, somebody know him here. He says, Anna, you have a 3 odds against you. I said, okay, Tom, I respect you. You are older. Please tell me. He says, you're a woman, you're foreigners, and nobody understands what the hell you're talking about. My Marco and I, we raised 2 really good boys, which we are proud. Both of them are in medical field. We have 5 grandchildren. 2 of them are in university, and 3 of them still small, 10, 8, and 6. Who am I? My name is Anna Vukovic. I have been resident of this town for the past 41 years, 18 years as a seasonal and 23 as a permanent resident. During this time, I had privilege to serve on town council for 11 years over the period of 3 terms. Like all of you here today, I too am a taxpayer of this town and share many of your concerns regarding the welfare of this municipality. My goal as your council is to support town council that promote openness and transparency to community. A town council that shows fairness to all. A town council that's fiscal prudence is very important to small town budget like ours. Spending hundreds, if not millions of dollars on consultant and misguided venture is not called fiscal prudence, that's called, I don't care, it's not my money. I strongly believe that we can do better with more cost-effective plan as long as town council apply due diligence in decision-making process. I embrace the diversity present in our unique town. In strong farming community, its active tourist industry is natural resources. I will work toward preserving the integrity of the unique shoreline and fragile environment, knowing that once it's damaged, will be lost forever. My goal as your councillor is listen to voice of the people and make meaningful decisions which benefit our community and the best interest of future generations. Thank you.
We now move on to questions from Chamber of Commerce members. These are questions from the Wyerton and Sauble Chamber, where in the interest of fairness and accuracy and all that stuff, we're going to be doing this randomly, as you can see. And I have never read these questions before. This is the question, number 9. You now have a minute. Missing. Oh, it's right here. No, 8. 9 is missing. Try again. That's not like a lottery. 15. Obtaining employees, especially seasonal employees, has been an ongoing problem for many communities. The largest complaint from potential employees is affordable living for the season. Where would you begin to tackle this issue? And we go now to Janice.
Can everybody hear me?
They have 1 minute to respond to these questions.
Thank you for that question. That's an excellent question. As you know, we have a tremendous amount of seasonal employees, not just with the town, but all of our seasonal businesses, especially in Saddle Beach. From a town perspective, we offer a really good wage, and we also offer an increase for any students that come back to second or third year. So that's one of the ways that we work that. For our businesses, that's the major reason why we created this bus loop. We now have transit in the summer that loops through Owen Sound, Wyerton, Hepworth, and Saddle Beach, so that our businesses can take advantage of employees that come from different areas, like Owen Sound, and we coordinated the stop times with our Saddle Beach businesses so that they could take advantage of when their shifts start and end that night. So those are a couple of ways, but yeah, it is a problem, but we're chipping away at it, and we'd certainly love any suggestions that anybody else has. Thank you.
Next question for Gary. And it is number 32. Oh, it feels like a hockey score here. The municipal accommodation tax will bring large amounts of money to our municipality. Half of this money will be used for tourism promotion. What ideas do you have to use this money effectively? You have 1 minute.
I think we have to sit down with the people that are renting these cottages, homes out, and we have to have a table with other taxpayers and just see what the fair solution for that is, and then direct the money where it's needed. Find out what our costs are as far as bylaw, garbage, and the parking and everything, and then just go from there and see if it's feasible, see if we're doing it and making enough money at it.
Question for Don Tedford. What ideas do you have to encourage trucks to use the bypass rather than the main street of Wyerton?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think we need to hit a few more car doors. That might get them going around, but yeah, the main street, the way I see it, and I've got lots of calls and talks about it, and people do not like it. They either love it or they hate it. It's there to calm traffic, and believe it or not, trucks, they go through there pretty quick. We have an older population. Pedestrians are important as well. So once we slow them trucks down, they're not very happy. So the bypass is probably something that has to be made more convenient, more usable, and get them using it, because that is not the proper, not taking car doors off or not, it's pretty scary.
We move now to the deputy mayor candidates. This is for Gwen Gilbert. Minor sports in the town has seen a decrease in participation in baseball, hockey, and soccer. Do you feel minor sports is important to our community? If so, what would you do to encourage more participation?
My kids all came up through the minor hockey system, baseball, soccer, and it's really important to have our kids involved in that. A lot of the problem right now is the expense. It's a huge expense to equip your kids, get them to their games, and it's just become unaffordable for a lot of families. I would like to see some of the funds from the short-term rental program put into an opportunity to provide assistance for these families when they want to enroll their kids into these sports. We can also, it's very expensive to rent the arena. I know it used to be well over $100 an hour, and that's a lot of the expense that the parents have to face when they put their kids into these programs. So let's help them out that way so that they can get their kids back in.
Question for Anne Marie Hadcock, deputy mayor candidate. What are your suggestions for the empty and deteriorating, it should be. Some people would like to see some detonating going on. Well, start off. What are your suggestions for the empty and deteriorating old Sobeys store on William Street? It has been empty for many years and is an eyesore.
Well, it's been an eyesore that I'm sick of looking at. How about everyone else? When I think about that old grocery store, we have all these wonderful businesses in town, and when you drive through Wyerton, it makes it look like we're closed for business. It doesn't matter the big dig, it doesn't matter what we do, it just looks like the town is deteriorating because of that big hulking store that's down there. And if I sit back and I dream, which of course we all do from time to time, but we have a problem with affordable food sources in this town. The grocery store is too expensive, so they build a grocery store and they leave that old hog behind. I'd like to actually get that property back, buy it back, and I'd like to put up a big post and beam market and give a place for our local farmers to be able to have year-round places to sell their produce and have it cheaper. That would help us all, I really think. Thank you.
Question for Jay Kirkland. What is stalling or hampering outside investors for taking on Sobeys, and how do you feel that could be changed?
Well, we as a municipality looked into purchasing the property a couple of years ago. We did an EA on the property, and there's it used to be a former railway turnbuckle station. Material down on the ground is from the EAs that we got back isn't favorable. It was very difficult for a developer to change any zoning on the property to accommodate apartments or anything that people would live in, because the EA situation would mean the whole ground needs to be cleaned up. Being that it is owned privately and not the municipally owned, it's very difficult to steer the corporation that owns the facility in the direction that we want to see. It is going to take a developer to come in and develop the property. I was in favor of buying the property for the municipality, but when I found out what the EA said, I couldn't support strapping the taxpayers with what it might have cost to clean up the property.
Time. Okay, questions of the councillor, Matt Arthur's question. Do you see any value or the need for a public forum to openly discuss the future direction of the town and its future growth with regards to agriculture, ecotourism, recreational, industrial development, and the need to protect our resources? Wow, that's a long one. That would take 10 years to answer, but go ahead.
Do I have more than a minute?
No.
Well, environmental tourism is, wrap it all up, is our key solution to having a healthy environment, and bringing in all the tourism creates a lot of garbage. So our infrastructure needs to be looked at as our dump systems, our recycling ability for the community. I know Sawville right now is currently having troubles with their ability to create recycling with all the tourism. We need to address that and make sure that all our availability as far as the environment comes first. So that's what it is.
Question for Terry Bell. What is stalling or hampering outside investors for taking on Sobeys, and how do you feel that could be changed? We have that one? Sorry. I didn't mark it. This is for Terry. A challenge on Main Street of Wyerton is to have the through traffic to stop so they can visit the stores. Many times there are no parking spots, they don't stop. What ideas do you have to solve this?
That's a valid question, and I think after the big dig, we took a look at parking accessibility and availability, and in all honesty, I think that the number of parking spaces that we now have for traffic is inadequate. I think the big dig improved the appearance and the infrastructure in downtown Wyerton, and I think it was absolutely necessary. It wasn't something that was a matter of choice. I think parking on the main street is, at this moment in time, is an issue that other councils have addressed, and I think those people who were involved in the structured planning did a good job. There are parking places available off the main street, and I think that signage indicating that you can park in other areas is extremely important. Thank you.
Time. Thank you. Number 36, this is for Terry. Sorry. The main Wyerton parking lot is on Louisa Street. However, there are many large cardboard recycling bins taking up several parking spots. Even though they're handy for the businesses, would you agree to leave as is or move them for more parking?
If there were an option to move them for more parking, I certainly would vote for that. And not only would it be providing for more parking, it would remove something that's extremely unsightly in a public parking lot. However, we have no other place for recycling of cardboard to occur. We are currently looking at our entire recycling program, and out of that might come some other opportunity to divest ourselves of cardboard rather than putting them in very ugly looking metal containers, which of course, as all are, open to abuse. So the cardboard and things are not in the containers, they are left outside, adding to the issue. So the original question is, yes, I'm in favor of removing those if there is another alternative for us to deal with our cardboard.
Question for Jeremy Hinomatter. Sable Beach has a large influx of visitors arriving throughout the summer, yet no longer has a tourism information center in Sable. Would you be in favor of the town funding a tourism center in Sable Beach for the summer months?
Oh yeah, of course. I would be in favor of that. I'd be in favor of a lot of changes in Wasaga Beach, or Sable Beach, right? I don't know where that came from. Except I lived there once, and I learned a lot from that town. They are 20 years ahead of other places, I'll tell you. But Sable Beach needs a lot of work, and it needs a lot of solutions.
Thank you. Next question for Bill Klingenberg. Lucky 13. When you have been on a vacation, what ideas have you seen that you would like to see implemented in our town that would benefit the residents and or tourists visiting the town?
Thank you for your question. Ironically, I just came back from a week of vacation on Manitoulin Island. And one of the places that we visited was Providence Bay. Providence Bay, in 2013, I believe, they partnered with, I believe it was a dozen organizations. And what they did was it was a beach revitalization plan that they implemented. It included boardwalks, lots of education, dune preservation, information about pike and plovers and other endangered species. And it was all done in partnership with provincial agencies, but also local agencies as well. And I think we can do the same for Sable Beach, or even for Blue Water Beach, is work with our partners and let's develop something that's sustainable and welcoming.
Question for Crystal Marler. 2 subdivisions in Oliphant have water trucked in from Wyerton, several loads a day. Do you agree with this, or would you have any ideas for a more permanent and less expensive solution?
Oh, that one's a good question. I don't think it's great that what we're doing right now in Oliphant. There are other solutions have been looked at through council, and when I was listening, it seemed like they were very expensive. I know that the Sunset Strip in Owen Sound is not run on their sewer and stuff, so I think we should be looking at the options that they're doing over there to see if they are available for Oliphant, and just any other options.
Thank you. Craig and Scoffer, this is your question, number 19. Garbage being left on the beach by visitors have been an ongoing issue in Sauble. What solutions do you have that could be implemented to alleviate this?
More accessible garbage bins, like more access to them on the beach. We don't have enough of them. I believe steeper fines and maybe hiring a few additional bylaw officers to address those concerns. Thank you.
And the final question on this round for Anna Vukovic. Blue Water Park is a gem in our community. A bend shell has been announced to be constructed. What other improvements can you see happening there?
I looked at bench shell that was sort of proposed. It looked like a sand storage, nothing disruptive. And if you ask me about it, I would not install that over there. It's a beautiful park and should stay that way.
Okay, we're going back to the mayor's questions. Questions for the mayor? Or are we at the end of our segment? That's what I'm on. Stand by, please. All right, let's do one more round of questions. Let's go to the mayor's questions for the mayor. Okay, ready for the mayor? Janice, stand by. The town of South Bruce Peninsula swells with residents in the summer. To be more sustainable year-round, what would you like to see changed in order to entice more permanent residents to live in the town year-round?
That's a great question. However, when we went through COVID, it was surprising how many cottagers turned their cottages into full-time homes. So we have had a huge increase, actually, of full-time residents in our cottage areas, not just Sauble Beach, but Hope Bay and Mallory Beach and Red Bay. So that's a wonderful news story. It's always nice to see our seasonal residents become full-time. I mean, that's kind of the evolution. Quite often it's you're in a trailer park and then you buy a cottage and then you become a permanent resident. And so anyways, that's just kind of the way that it's been. We also need to increase our amenities, I think, to draw people, and that's why council has been dealing with the town hub and the amenities that would bring to our residents. And of course, it's only something that we would build if we can afford it, but we're at the stage right now where we're looking at the affordability of it. So there's a couple of suggestions.
Question for Gary Michi. Do you believe that we need a new town hall? And if so, where would we locate it?
Well, we don't need a new town hall. We have a town hall, and we also have the Witcher building, which is the library, and that's the only thing in that building is the library. The rest of it's sitting empty. Now there's other options, but that'll be put out to the taxpayers of South Bruce Peninsula. It won't be council deciding if we want a new town hall. It'll be the taxpayers deciding if we want a new town hall.
Question for Don Tedford, number 5. What actions would you take to help maintain important infrastructure in the municipality, such as boat launches, recreation facilities, and properties accessed by the public?
Thank you for that question. I think the number one goal there is to make sure that we use all of our tax dollars from the federal government, the provincial government, and our local taxes as well. It's a teamwork to do infrastructure. When new development happens, the people buying the property pay for the infrastructure. As a municipality, you've got to maintain it forever and a day, the next 1,000 years or whatever. And it takes a lot of money to do that. And I believe we have to share all those taxes we pay to get our infrastructure, recreation,
or any other municipal service subsidized.
Okay, deputy mayor candidates, here are the questions for Gwen. First of all, what is your growth stimulation plan for growing business and economic value in the town of South Bruce Peninsula?
Can you repeat that?
Yeah. What is your growth stimulation plan for growing businesses and economic value for South Bruce Peninsula? What's your vision?
Our forefathers, back in 1920-21, decided at that point when we lost our last sawmill in Wyerton that we were going to go in the direction of tourism and agriculture for our economic growth. And that has been the way we've gone. And I believe that we need to, I think it's really important now that we have this so-called industrial fish farm sitting on our plate, that our town needs to decide where we're going to go. If we want industrialization, which I don't want industrialization in our agricultural zone, wetland, significant land, but we do need to have that talk, and that's part of that sustainable tourism plan that I would like to see done. North Bruce Peninsula did it this past year, or past term of council. It's worked wonderful for them. They've got some organization now going on within their municipality, and it's done nothing but increase their economic development in that town.
Time. Next question for Anne-Marie Hadcock. What are your thoughts on having an increased OPP presence in Sauble Beach for the summer months?
Well, let's be honest, we've been having a lot of vandalism in South Bruce Peninsula. I know that even out in Oliphant where I live, vandalism has gone way up. Anybody who's seen the Oliphant Dog Park will tell you that it's been vandalized pretty good. We've had a car on fire down at the beach, and I think that vandalism is a big problem. I think that increased police presence is something that we need to have at Sauble Beach during the summer seasons to make sure that the residents are safe. But beyond police presence, I think that we also need to have more volunteers keeping an eye on things. We need to have education in Sauble Beach. And we need to, really work on building that sense of community that we already have and bringing it out and making people spend time maybe educating all of our visitors as well. Thank you.
Question for Jay Copeland. Infrastructure has been a controversial issue in the town, and in particular in Sauble Beach. It's been argued that infrastructure is essential to keeping our tourism economy sustainable and to create a better living environment for all residents. What is your view on the current infrastructure, any improvements needed, and why?
Well, one of the main things in Sauble Beach has always been the discussion on water and sewer. We've had our past where it was affordable to bring water and sewer to Sauble Beach. Presently, what's happened with COVID and everything else, there's no funding for any kind of infrastructure, be it new infrastructure into the ground. Thus, making it unaffordable for anybody to even think about putting, especially sewers in the water. I'd like to see us do more connecting of our water systems out at Sauble and try to create and use up any excess that we have in the systems that are presently there. If there's any way we can do that, that's going to help with the monthly cost to the users of the water systems. But presently, right now, it is going to be very difficult to even think about sewage at Sauble Beach because of the costs, and I'm not in favor of strapping the users with those high expenses. It can't be right now, but I've always been in favor of water and sewer in an area like that, but it has to be at a proper cost.
Thank you. On to the 10 candidates for council. Matt Arthur, your question is number 17. Parking in Sauble Beach is an ongoing problem. What solutions do you propose to help alleviate this in the future?
That's a good question. It's been brought up on many debates. Right now, the parking brings in a revenue of about $800,000 a year. And if you took that $800,000 a year and eliminated it, you'd put the stress of 7,300 taxpayers, land taxpayers, to $108 per household tax increase. So, I mean, we have to do obviously a study on tourism to make sure our community can be stressed with all the tourism that we're increasingly having. Create more parking is feasible for the community. Investing in more property as a community to create more parking, I would see as a viable feature for our area. Thank you.
Question for Terry Bell. Our community groups are all struggling with lack of volunteers as well as funding. What consideration and thoughts do you have to offer on this issue?
Could you repeat the question again?
Yeah.
Please?
Community groups in the town are all struggling with the lack of volunteers as well as a lack of funding. What consideration and thoughts do you have to offer on this issue?
Well, I think the volunteer structure in any community is of paramount importance. I think that from a personal perspective, I volunteered for many different organizations doing many different things to help the community. To encourage volunteers, I think it's important that they remember we try and keep taxes to a minimum. We don't encourage hiring more paid staff. Volunteers are required in minor sports, they're required in the hospital auxiliary, they're required to assist in food deliveries for the poor. And I think stimulating volunteer involvement is something that the council would look at very seriously and hopefully make volunteering for any prospective person something that is worthwhile. I know that from a minor sporting perspective, without volunteers, it won't work. Thank you.
Kathy Durst, your question. What new ideas do you have to encourage new business in our community?
I think, first of all, you talk about dusting off some of the very good studies that we have done. We have 3 business studies that have been completed over the last 4 years. And in those, they have identified recommendations for helping the business community. But one of the things that, in order to grow your business, you need to have people to be here to shop in your businesses. You need to make your businesses open. You need to make your business accessible. You need to take advantage of all of the opportunities that have been presented to you with respect to grants. We have worked, our economic development officer has worked with many businesses in Wyerton and Saddle Beach to access these grants. More information on where those grants are and how they can be of use is really to take advantage of what is available to you and to make sure that the town has that information to give to you and that you access that.
Thank you. Jerry, Hina Matter, your question. On the matter of transparency, how do you feel about publishing minutes of every council meeting in local newspapers, as it's done in some areas, as a means of more directly keeping the community involved and informed?
Oh, I agree that the minutes should be made available across multiple sources, on social media, on the town website, and in newspapers, as long as, you know, the cost doesn't become exorbitant. You have to work together with local newspapers. Because again, you know, social media doesn't cost, a lot of social media doesn't cost money. A website is already up and being developed, so it's just another thing to add in there. But if the cost isn't too bad, I would publish it in the newspaper, yes.
Question for Bill Klinkenberg. The municipal accommodation tax will bring large amounts of money to our municipality. Half of the money will be used for tourism promotion. What ideas do you have to use this money more effectively?
I think, thank you for your question. With respect to the other part of the revenue generated by municipal accommodation tax, I think we need to look at what the impact of tourism and short-term rentals are. I think one of the areas that we can seriously have a look at is the town's recycling program and waste management within the town. With tourism, there's a lot of waste generated, and we need to have a system in place where we can deal with that better. And from what I've seen in other municipalities as well, having a better recycling program and having recycling bins available at the beach, at our parks, I think that's one thing we could look at.
Crystal Marler, your question. What steps would you take to improve communications with the public about significant events in our community? If there are communications media specialists on staff with the municipality, if not, do you support hiring one?
It seems around this area, because I've lived here this long, that everything you learn is through word of mouth. You can put it on social media, you can put it up in the grocery store, but word of mouth seems to be the best thing in this area. I think we just continue to do that, and to hire somebody to tell us how to do our job of putting everything out there, that's kind of a waste of money to me. I think we should just continue what we're doing, and we need to spread it better on social media, and we need to spread it better in newspapers and in the stores and in our businesses.
Anna? No, sorry. Craig, sorry. Well, I've lost the page.
It's okay, I can skip.
It's okay. So here we go. We're gonna have a break in a couple of minutes here. It's been obvious that the county of Bruce and RTO7, I have no idea what that is, you can explain it. It's been obvious that the county of Bruce and RTO7 have insignificant promotion for the town of South Bruce Peninsula tourism. How would you approach this issue to ensure that the town receives a more adequate portion of the promotion money?
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to please repeat that.
Yeah. Can somebody explain what this RT07 is? First of all, I'll give you 10 seconds. Janice, please.
That's a very difficult question for me to answer.
You're
Is there another question that you can ask?
Yeah, let's do another question. 25.
I can answer it. My name's Kathy.
Okay, here it is. This is for Cragen, okay? 25. What are your plans for the future of the Wyerton Willie Festival? There's a good one.
That is one of my favorite festivals of the year. I'm excited for what our town already has put in place. I recently heard that we're switching over to finding a vendor to prepackaged breakfast. I kind of want to stick with the initial breakfast that we used to have. That's part of the morning. We go out there and they offer skating and a breakfast, and it's a really community building experience. So I want to go back to what we had in place. Is what I like. I like to maintain tradition. I'm very big on that. I just feel like I'm very excited that we found new albino groundhog. Super cool. Yeah. I basically believe in what we have put in place in the past and want to go back to that and just have some fun.
Question for Anna, then we'll have a 10-minute break. Number 6, with regards to the proposed hub, that's HUB, are you in favor of it? The location, North Hill, in the gifted subdivision lands, or?
That is of present council 5 in the sky. The property on Jennings Street was on market for 20 years. I was still in the real estate when I spoke with the agent in Toronto. What is he doing here? So finally, town found to be smart, or the agent that sold us that land. It could be good for a quarry, not for anything else. South side, that developer has been on books for the last 15 years. Cost lots of money to a taxpayer. Zoning, planning, appeal. Now they're giving them 15 acres. What? He want infrastructure, he want a sewer and water there. I am against both of them unless people have a referendum on it.
Thank you very much. Just before we have a break, a reminder that fines are possible if you smoke on school property. No smoking on school property, says a former smoker. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. We'll be resuming in 1 minute. Please take your seats. We'll resume the show in 1 minute. Thank you. All right, we'll be beginning segment 2 momentarily. This is featuring written questions from you guys, submitted as you enter the hall. The mayoralty candidates get the same question. And once all the mayoralty candidates have answered the same question, then the same setup for the deputy mayor candidates. The council candidates get different questions, and back to the mayor. Okay, we're resuming, ladies and gentlemen. Can everybody hear the answers from the candidates? Okay, is there any problem with the audio? Good. So the control room is doing a great job. Thank you very much. These are written questions from you guys, and we're going to start with the mayors, and Janice, you'll be getting the first question, and it's being handed to me as we speak. Do you believe this is an accessibility problem for the full-time residents of Wyerton with regards to the new Burford Street streetscape? If yes, what is your first step to dealing with this issue if elected? Janice.
Thanks for the question. That question actually came to the accessibility committee at Bruce County, and we furnished Bruce County's accessibility committee with the answer to that question. We spend an awful lot of time and effort and money on accessibility on Burford Street. We have tactile plates on every corner. We have the beeping of the lights. We got rid of the two-step curb system that we had. We've added more accessible parking spots on Burford Street. There was a whole list of things, and the accessibility committee in Bruce County was quite happy actually to see the list. They were surprised. But we have, we're always open and looking for ways to improve the town. So, any questions or suggestions, we would love to hear them. We did get one they wanted a specific accessibility spot in front of the Legion, and we accommodated that. So throw your suggestions at us, we're always open. Thanks.
Next question for Gary Nietzsche. What are the chances of getting an indoor walking track and a heated indoor swimming pool? Woo-hoo. Sorry, I'm not supposed to be biased, but I like that heated indoor pool idea.
Well, there I would have a referendum and you people decide. You're the ones paying the bills. If you want to know how much your taxes are going to increase by that, we'll tell you. That's going to be your choice, not council's choice. You're paying the bill.
Don Tetzler, this is about Sabo. Please provide your viewpoint on sewers and water infrastructure in the future of Sabo Beach. Needed or not needed, and why not? Thank you, was the question.
Well, that's a good question, and I support some sort of a hybrid water sewer to help those business people, people that live on systems where they cannot function. Most of the beaches, the larger areas are all got septic beds and large lots. I do believe the whole beach and sitting on the side of Lake Huron should all have water. And water is a more economical thing to give to everybody, and that would probably be, I do support some sort of infrastructure to help look after the existing situation, make sure it's environmentally correct and protecting our beach and our water. It's just something I would look into.
Gwen Gilbert, we go to the deputy mayor category. Your question, how are you planning to work with Indigenous communities?
We used to always have a good relationship with our neighbors, and I'm certainly hoping we can get back to that. It's just meeting them at the table and talking with them about concerns or how we want to see things moving, and it was never difficult to talk and to have that relationship, and I certainly hope we can get back to that.
Anne Marie, your question is, what do you plan on doing for bringing down the rates for water in Huron Woods, Sabo? And I understand there was a huge amount of money saved for this project, and more increases have gone this past year. Thank you.
That's a question that I am not very, I guess, educated on. But we have to look into all of the small water systems that we have, and also in all of them. I know that there's water being trucked in. It's a matter of being able to expand these systems and if we can afford them, and all of these different variables that come into it. And I know that even out in Oliphant, we can't keep trucking water in. It's just a Band-Aid solution. Is it a matter of drilling more wells out there and trying to lobby with the Minister of Health? It's a lot of complex issues to be able to bring those prices down. And we have to sit back and look at what the taxpayers can afford and whether or not we can get granting to be able to expand these systems and bring the prices down. Thanks.
Jay Kirkland, your question from the voters. What happens with the projects and policies initiated by council and the mayor when the new council and the mayor is elected?
I'm thinking that means what have we got in place and what is to move things forward is, I can't see a problem with staff being able to, if this full council is gone and a brand new council comes in, I would imagine our staff that we have in place, and we have a very good staff, would well inform a new council of issues and things that we have been working on and how to proceed forward. It would be a public process and the council's decision whether they wanted to move forward with any projects or situations that we've already had in place and carry them forward. We would hope that they would still move. A lot of things have been investigated and time spent on things and money. So we've done very well in the last few terms to keep moving, and it's a long process to move a municipality forward in any situation, especially like our sewage lagoon here in Wyerton. That was a long process, and I would hope a council wouldn't walk in when we were in the middle of that process and shut that down, because it was something needed for the whole town at the time. So, thank you.
On to councillor candidate, just a note that Caleb Hall is ill and could not be here today, and we wish him well. And Steve Moe is absent today. So let's go to the questions for councillor. For Matt Arthur, your question. How would you improve communications with citizens? Example, town website, social media, the town phone system.
That's a great question. Obviously, everyone's under the impression and understanding that the new voting system is online and by computer with a phone-in system as well. We need to get back to the basis of seeing people one-on-one, talking to people. As far as the voting system, I do believe the ballot system, we're out of the pandemic, we should be back to the ballot system where people can integrate and come in and put their voice forward. The seniors in our area and some of us young youth don't have the capability of using computers, so there has to be more communication as far as mail out information to our citizens. Thank you.
Question for Terry Bell, councillor candidate. If elected, will you remove the Jersey wall on Lakeshore Boulevard in Sauble? Is that correct, the Jersey wall? Is that the name of it?
Yeah,
Oh, that's what it's called. Okay, go on.
Would I remove it?
Would you remove it? Will you push to remove it?
Oh, well, I really need to be educated on, you know, what the purpose of the wall is to begin with. It's traffic control. I'm sorry, I really don't have an answer to that question.
All right. Maybe somebody else later on can add it in their closing remarks. Question for Jerry Heenematter. Sorry, Kathy, why did I keep forgetting this? Sorry.
Okay.
Next. What is your position on Sauble Beach Maintenance Advisory Committee and some sort of policy to address the urgent issues in Sauble in the summer?
Okay.
You can take an hour on that one.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Yeah.
The first part of the question was what, is it referencing a beach management plan?
Yeah, what is your position on Sauble Beach Maintenance and Advisory Committee? Do they have one?
I don't believe there is a Sauble Beach.
Maybe they're suggesting they want one.
Well, absolutely. I look at Sauble Beach as a facility that the town owns, no different than any other facility. It has maintenance issues, it has use issues, it has a revenue stream, it has an operating stream, it has people using it. And so an advisory committee to assist the town on how to manage that asset would be welcome. Because I would assume that an advisory committee would come from residents, with residents. And who better? At the moment, we don't have an advisory committee, but we don't have a plan either for an advisory committee to advise on. So I think one has to have one of those before one can have the other.
Very good, thank you. Question for Jerry Heenematter. This is a crisis in many communities in Ontario. What is your plan for attracting healthcare professionals, doctors and nurses to our area? I could give you a random 1 hour on this issue, but she's got 1 minute.
Well, there are ways to attract doctors. You have to go to where they are, and you have to offer things like grants to set up a practice. And I would be, offering some doctors some grants to set up a walk-in clinic, which is more than a practice. But, it's not as simple as just opening a regular business. You find a little office space and, costs $10,000 and you're set up. To set up a medical practice, you're looking at probably $100,000 And so, you know, especially young doctors who are just newly out of school or, you know, just finishing their residency or whatever, they don't have that kind of cash laying around and probably don't have the credit for it either. So that's why a municipality has to be willing to offer.
Question for Bill Klingenberg. What are your thoughts on tourism booths in Sauble Beach and in Wyerton instead of at Hepworth?
Can you just repeat that again? Sorry.
So we have a information booth, a tourism booth in Hepworth. What are your thoughts on tourism booths in Sauble and in Wyerton, separate booths?
Thank you for that question. I think perhaps a tourist information center at Sauble Beach is probably worth the time and the money that it would take to run that. I think generally speaking, we need to do a better job at promoting the area through social media and those types of medias. The days of the information booth, you know, the one at Hepworth, for example, I don't know how much use it gets, but that would be something that if the Lycodon Council, you know, we would certainly look at it. What is the usage of that building, and how can we do that better, get South Bruce Peninsula known better.
Crystal Marler, question. Are you prepared to work with local environmental groups and citizens to create a beach management plan?
Yes, that's easy. Actually, over the last couple of weeks, I've gotten in touch with the Bruce Peninsula Biosphere Association, and I am now a volunteer with them, and I will be volunteering for their run up in Lions Head. So I'm in touch with Grace Sauble Conservation. I wrote them an email with regards to beach maintenance, just to see what their answers are, and I'm going to be talking to the MNR as well, already stepping up and going ahead. Even if I'm not on council, I will be coming to council meetings to address that issue.
Question for Craven Stopper. Will you stop all parking? Will you stop all parking on Sauble Beach, including on private land?
I didn't hear the first part.
Okay. Will you stop all parking on Sauble Beach, including on private land?
I believe private property is just that, so I can't speak to private land. I feel as though we need to investigate what environmental hazards come from parking on the beach. I don't have enough knowledge to know if it has been detrimental to our environment or if it will continue to do so, but I believe we need parking. So, like, if it's minimal, then I believe that we should push forward and allow parking to be on the beach. Just so long as it's being respected, you know, you're not doing burnouts and stay on top of littering. But yeah, no, I believe private property is that, and we should incorporate parking on the beach. Thank you.
Question for Anna. Sewer and water, Sauble, yes or no? And then it adds, we need a car wash, laundromat, and hotels in Sauble. Well, you could do an hour on that one, couldn't you?
Well, I won't be very short. When I was on the council from 2006 to 2010, Gwen was the mayor at that time. We obtained $6 million for the DC area, which is development core at Sauble. And that was the provincial and federal government. 1/3 has to come from the users. And that was an election issue. I think somebody come at the council at that time because of it, because people didn't want it. If the provincial government, the federal government open their coffers and give us the money, by all means, I am at least for the main core. As for car wash, you cannot have a car wash or laundry because you don't have the water. Simple as that. I mean, what can I say?
All right, we're moving on now to the questions again to the mayor candidates. And this is for Janice Jackson. What would your position be on the decision on the Sauble land claim? Would you appeal again or accept it?
I guess that question is assuming that we would lose the trial. You know, we're gonna get a decision, they told us within 6 months to 2 years actually, so it's been about 6 months now. For Sauble Beach to lose the beach, for the town to lose Sauble Beach would be economically disastrous for the town. I'm not sure that everybody really understands the impact to our community if we lost half of Sauble Beach. The amount of money that comes from Sauble Beach, not just from our business community, but from a taxation perspective. What's going to happen to that beach if the First Nations takes it, I think would be disastrous for our community. I've had a conversation with the chief at the time, Vernon Root, and he was very clear with me what they were going to do with the beach, and they were going to run it the same way that they run the south end of the beach. Charge people to walk on it, they're going to have parking all the way up to 6th Street, and it's going to put tremendous pressure on the north end of the beach because everybody's going to be flocking up there. I don't like to talk about this one forever.
Are you going to repeal it?
Okay, that's the end of that answer. The next question is for Gary Michi. There are many vocal constituents at odds in our community. How do you propose bringing the community forward and working together? Gary.
We have to have more open public meetings with council and the public, and just talk about different stuff, the hub, swimming pool, new town hall, and just bring together people so they can decide, and maybe with their decisions and everybody come together, it'll be a place to be.
Question for Don Tedford. I understand, this is from a voter, I understand a forensic audit is done every year for the town as per the law. Is that true, Don?
Can you repeat that for me, please?
Yes, this voter says, I understand a forensic audit is done every year for the town of South Goose Peninsula as per the law. Is that true?
A forensic audit on what? On the town? I'm totally unaware of that ever being done, but somebody else may be able to answer it. I'm not aware of it being done. So my answer is I can't answer that question on a forensic audit.
Okay, next we go to deputy mayor category for Gwen Gilbert. Integrity is essential in leadership. Please give examples of how you have demonstrated this in your role, whether currently in council or in your business. Gwen.
I've had 3 different businesses, successful businesses in this town. The first business I bought had 1 employee that came with it. When we sold it 9 years later, we were up to 38. I think that displays the support I had from the town, and I don't think if I didn't have that support that I wouldn't have been able to grow my businesses like I did. We had very successful discussions and opportunities when I was in council before. Totally enjoyed it. Great debate, always doing what the people wanted us to do, the best interest of the people wanted us to do, and always had support at the end of that. So I just think my past is consideration for when people want to consider my integrity and where I've been in my life. I've always supported people. I've been involved in volunteer opportunities. I've done missions, local, nationally, internationally, and it's always been great.
Question for Anne-Marie Hadcock. You're running for deputy mayor with no prior experience. What makes you qualified?
Well, I said this in the Sauble meeting, I got applause, I'm going to say it again. I'm running for deputy mayor and I have no experience as a career politician, and that's why you should vote for me. I'm going to be honest with everyone. I have 25 years experience in a managerial position in the food industry. I got an MFA from the University of Windsor, my undergraduate degree from the University of Western. I show leadership ability in my community, and I stand up for people when they need help, and I have always done that, and I will continue to do that. I know my way around the budget. I make good sound decisions, and I'm a very reasonable person, and I'm a good listener. And those are the qualities that we need in our current council when they come up. And you have to start off with a new council, and you have to start off picking the right people. Thank you.
Question for Dave Kirkland. Section 224 of the Municipal Act requires council to work for the public, not just the electorate that voted for you. If you are running as part of a slate, how do you reconcile that responsibility with Section 224? Oh, leave it.
It's kind of a difficult question. I've never ran ever in the past as a slate, and I believe that means running with a group of people. I've always run by myself, done my own campaigns, and make my decisions by myself. I like to make sure that I'm doing decisions in a well-informed situation that I've heard from the public. I've investigated and researched any decisions. I'm not sure if I'm answering the second part of that question quite right, but as far as the slate's concerned, I've always been independent and make my decisions independently, and take advice from people that are qualified to give the advice to better make my decisions more knowledgeable. Thank you.
On to council candidates for Matt Arthur. Your question. The municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula has declared a climate emergency and developed a comprehensive action plan that outlines their intentions for combating this very important issue. What policies or actions would you like to see established to combat climate change in South Bruce Peninsula?
Well, I'm not an environmentalist, but as we all know, with the future of automotive, we are looking at a lot of electric vehicles coming to our community, and we need to have in our rezoning of new parking lots availability for these vehicles to be plugged in, whether they're tourists or local commuters from the area. That's a step in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. Being in the automotive industry for 30 years, this is going to be the new way of life. Gasoline vehicles are going to be eliminated from our area in the near future, and that is number one pollution concerns in our area. Thank you.
Question for Terry Bell. Part of the original Main Street plan for Wyerton was a pedestrian walkway from Burford to Blue Water Park, not on the roadway, but on the sidewalk on north side of William Street, that included arches and historic signs telling of early Wyerton history. Is this something you think is valuable, and would you support it?
Yes, I do think it's valuable, and I would support it.
I like that. You know, if you watch an NBC newscast, they do it on a whole story in about 30 seconds, and less is more, and that's an example of less is more. Okay, Jerry Hinomatter, your question. This list is long that I have, right? You're on. Sorry, no, okay. This is for you. The large development proposed for south of Elm Street and west of Highway 6 has been in the works for 10 years and is stalled. The community needs more population to keep a healthy downtown area. What would you do to get the development moving again?
I'm assuming you're talking about the Wyerton Meadows project? Okay, thank you. What I can do as a counselor is simply to encourage developers, to have policies and procedures and whatever we do to encourage development of any of our lands. I'm not sure what I alone as a counselor can do without working as council in terms of our economic development strategies, which we already have in place. Trying to pass bylaws, for instance, around how we can assist development within our current policies and procedures. I'm sorry if that's a very vague answer, but it's very difficult for any one councillor to encourage development on their own. It's a community process.
Now, Jerry, Concerns about sidewalk maintenance and its signs posted about no winter maintenance. Man, oh man, the writing is awful on this one. Seems a waste of money as maintenance is sketchy at best. Inconsistent homeowner clearance of snow, lack of salt and sand, and maintained sidewalks. Your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm not really sure what it's referring to. Now, I know that people want sidewalks to the school here to make it safer for children. And of course, there would have to be some sidewalk maintenance for that in place. You know, all of those kinds of things have to be put before the people. And the people, you know, I think that's the whole issue here, is that there hasn't been communication with you, the people, on what you really want and what we really need. Because sometimes your wants aren't the same as what's really needed, but I really believe that we need more open communication with the people and, you know, towards what's needed when it comes to sidewalks and comes to road maintenance. Those are big issues here, I know.
Bill Klingenberg, your question. Many Great Lakes beaches have lifeguards and water rescue facilities. Do you have plans for the same at Sauble Beach?
Thank you. I think it's crucial to have that equipment there. I think we need those life safety stations with a flag system at Sauble Beach, but not only at Sauble Beach, at other lakefront properties as well. We have many waterfront parks in the municipality, and I think we need to provide that level of safety for those parks and facilities. The other thing I think is important is not only, you know, do we need EMS at the beach, but we also need, I think that we can provide our firefighters with the equipment and the training needed to save a life, whether that life is at Sauble Beach or at Howdenville Park. We need to have the ability to do that, and that's one of the things that I would certainly look at if elected.
Crystal Marlowe. Crystal, will there ever be a second gas station in Wyerton? Or maybe even a hybrid fuel station?
Will there be? Like, if there's electric charging stations, we do need to look at, we do need to have a second gas station. If there was a developer that wanted to come in to build one, it would be a good idea. Our gas station downtown is super fun to get in with, especially with a school bus. And it's really difficult in the summer months and how much it backs up traffic. So if a developer wanted to build one in a good area, I would be okay with that.
Cragen Stopper, this is about roads in Sauble. 6th Street North and Sauble Community Drive are in terrible shape. Are you in favor of improving the roads in Sauble?
Of course, I'm always up for like improvements. I'd like to hear what the concerns are. If it's a safety issue, we need to address that sooner rather than later. And yeah, we need to maintain proper maintenance.
Question for Anna. Blue Water Park is the jewel of Wyerton. What are your thoughts? Does the campground belong there? What is your long-term vision?
Blue Water is a people park and should stay that way. As for the trailer park, that's the only entity that makes money in the town of South Bruce Peninsula and should stay there.
Tight and bright. Stand by, please. I must meet with my committee. Okay, we're going to have a 10-minute break, and then we'll be having live human questions from you guys. So 10-minute break, see you in 10. We'll be resuming in 1 minute. This is the live microphone segment. If anybody is abusive or rude or libelous or slanderous, their microphone will be cut off. Thanks. This is just a little thank you note to the volunteers who are taking part today. The civic students from the school are Sophia Hepburn, Anna Jenner, Fide Breyer. The control room is Mike Sealer. Let's just see if we can reach Mike. Mike, can you read me? We're calling the control room. Are you over there? Over. You got it. You're doing a really good job, Mike. Thank you very much. Hey, there you go. The fans are on their feet. The volunteers from Sauble are Cynthia, Ron, and Kevin. From Wyerton, Anne, Corrine, Paul, Laura, and Kim. And this is the internationally famous Stu Patterson speaking. I'm your monitor and air traffic controller. So, this is your chance to line up at the microphones. We'll just alternate from one side to the other. And please be respectful. Pretend this is your Sunday dinner with your family and you're asking questions, okay? So this is a family show, and let's go ahead. You're on, sir. Go ahead. Microphone. And speak up nice and loud, okay, sir? Get nice and close to the mic, sir. Start over, please.
Hello. You got it? My question is, do you think it's ethical or a conflict of interest to sell properties at a discount or give contracts to fellow councilors?
And this question who is this question for, sir?
The three deputy mayors.
The deputy mayors. All right, Anne Marie, go ahead. Did you understand the question?
Yes, I do think it's wrong. We're going to come right out and say it. If you're an elected official in South Bruce Peninsula, you shouldn't be doing it to make money for yourself. You should be doing it because you care about people in this community. And you shouldn't have your hands in anybody's pockets and trying to make money for yourself. That's the wrong reason people go into politics, but sadly the reason why many do. Thank you.
Okay. Gordon Gilbert, you have a chance to respond to that question.
It's disgusting behavior. And I have seen it firsthand at the council table. As a matter of fact, it's the reason why I ran for mayor in the first place. Because in my day, the town had purchased or had provided $600,000 worth of services to the school board to put the new school in. And when we were in fact looking at selling the old school to the Friends of Literacy program, all of a sudden we had a counselor who jumped up and said, oh, I'm going to declare a conflict. I may be interested in this. In the end, the town, I mean, if you had enough buddies on your council and you get the majority vote, in the end, the town ended up selling it to the counselor for $230,000. Plus, we did so many other things to accommodate that, and it took 5 years to pay for it. That behavior has got to stop. And that was the reason why I ran for mayor, and I'm still ticked about that they had the majority of that council, always a 6-2 recorded vote, you can check it out, and it went through.
Time. Jake Kirkland, you may respond to that question, please.
I think this is pointed at Jay Kirkland. So I'm very proud of the way the school finished, the apartments. I saved a building that was going to be destructed by a council or a school board who at the time destructed the building at Hepworth School out front without any public knowledge, didn't give a chance to anybody to save the old heritage portion of the school at the Hepworth Public School. The school board did not want this building. The council did not want this building. In the end, when we say financial gain, I did declare conflict of interest all the way through the process, and I did not make one red penny on redoing the high school into condos, but I am very proud of what I've done, and I did maintain that building. Would I ever do it again? No, definitely not. It was the biggest waste of dollars, my personal dollars, that I've ever done in a business. It wasn't a very good business decision, but I did finish it, and I'm proud of what I had done with that. And the school has been saved and will be there. That building is a beautiful building, and I'm very glad that I did what I did at the time.
Time. This question is for what category? Is it for the councilors, deputy, or mayor? This is a question for the mayors. Go ahead, sir.
Rick Olmstead, here, a lot of people know me. I'm very local around this town. My question is, if elected, would you welcome a judicial review of all the bylaws created over the last year and a review of standard operations of the bylaw department?
Don Tedford, could you try to answer that, please?
Thank you. I'd like the question repeated again, please, or at least.
If elected, would you agree to a judicial review of all bylaws that have been created over the last 8 years and a review of the bylaw department standard operating procedures?
Thank you for the question. That's a good one. As far as doing the review and the bylaws go, that should actually probably be done, before the bylaws pass. But as the ones that are passed, I guess you'd have to do some sort of a review on them and see how they're working and how they're functioning and if they're doing the job they're intended to do in the first place. And if they're not, then they should be reviewed by council and amended at that time so that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Thanks.
Gary, answer the same question if possible.
I would say the same thing as Don, pull every bylaw out and review it, and if it's working, fine, and if it's not, or if there's discretion, then get rid of it.
Janice Jackson.
Bylaws are frequently tweaked, depending on, what situations arise, but that's something that council does. So any new council can obviously look at a bylaw and tweak it or cancel it if they want to. As far as bylaw enforcement, bylaw enforcement has got to be one of the worst jobs in the world, especially the beach bylaw enforcement. You're dealing with 1.5 million tourists, and we've had a tremendous amount of drinking on the beach this summer, more than we've ever had before. So you're dealing with, people that are tough to handle. And our bylaw enforcement team this summer has done an incredible job, a stand-up job. But then bylaw enforcement year-round, we just have one officer, and that officer deals with property standards issues and animal control and all kinds of things. But bylaws can be tweaked and changed and canceled at council's whim, and our bylaw enforcement department is top-notch right now.
Let's go to the next question. This is for what category as councilor?
Mayor and deputy mayors, please.
Okay, let's go. The question is?
I'm Heidi Arnold, and I live in Wyerton, and I'd like to know what you are doing about the doctors. I know you've been going on and on and on. I've heard this before COVID hit, and you still haven't got doctors here. I need a doctor desperately, and I can't find one. And there's hundreds of people, maybe 300-400 people, who are without a doctor. I'm almost 80, and I have medical issues, and I need a doctor now.
Gary Nietzsche,
Please.
You'll be starting this off, and I understand it's several thousand people that do not have doctors in our region. There you go. Gary.
Good question, and there is a team, or was a team, that was in place trying to recruit doctors. Obviously, that team needs funding and stuff to entice doctors to come here. I don't know if that Linda, I can't mention any names, but one lady I knew was on that committee. I don't know if that committee's still going or not. I will find out for you though.
Well, I would appreciate it.
I will find out and I will let you know tomorrow where we're at with that.
Janice Jackson, can you respond?
I'm at Winford Lodge.
Thank you. Yeah, tens of thousands of people across Ontario are in the same boat as you are, Heidi, and it is a big issue. As far as South Bruce Peninsula is concerned, the two committees have joined forces. So the Wire Recruitment Committee and the Sauble Committee have joined forces now. I ran down the recruiter that Bruce Power had on staff for a decade or more, and she recruited 17 doctors. And I think is one of the best recruiters in Ontario. She's since retired, so I wasn't able to lure her up here. However, she's offered all kinds of assistance to this group, and you know, I coordinated a meeting at Sauble with her and the two groups together. Our council has funded the committee with $50,000 right now. I'm certainly hoping that they're going to have lots of successes and need more money, because we'll be happy to do that, or at least I'm hoping the next council will definitely do that. But I have a lot of faith in this new committee. I just talked to one of the members yesterday, and he's really encouraged with the path that they're taking and the help that they're getting from this expert recruiter, and I think we're going to see some positive results.
Don Tedford on the doctor crisis.
Thank you, and that is an excellent question. And one of the communities I was in, we about 10 years ago, that same situation happened where we were going to lose all the doctors if we didn't do something about it. So municipalities did not think it was a reason to be in the medical field, but believe it or not, it ended up being that municipalities had to join in and create these clinics. They can be created. I had a good challenge by the mayor at that time. He said, I will back it and do the medical clinic with 3 conditions. Number 1, that it not cost the taxpayers any money. Number 2, that it include all the doctors in town to participate. And number 3, that it be in the hospital or located close by. And all 3 of those were achieved, and our medical clinic now has about 17 doctors as well. And it was very scary at the time, and I do empathize with you and hope you get your doctors resolved.
Deputy Mayor candidate on the same issue, Jay Kirkland.
Thank you. Just reiterating what Janice said down there, this council was committed and is committed to putting funds towards to help recruitment. One of the things we did do is we purchased the Sauble Area Medical Clinic. What it does allow is for a different type of doctor that doesn't want to have their own staff. They can come to that clinic and we supply the staff, we supply all the maintenance, the costs. All they do is charge out for their fees, their hourly fees, or however they charge the province to get their dollars back. They can also come to Wiarton here, and it's a different service that we're able to offer. I think one of the biggest things that we can do is really promote a lifestyle in this area. It's not as fast-paced as it is in the city, and we got to go after doctors that are looking for a more active lifestyle as far as the Bruce Trail, our beaches, our bike parks, and really promote those things. And that's what we did with when we had the 2 committees joined together, trying to come up with a standard advertising package so that we can move forward and help. It is one of the, well, I think it is the biggest issue in South Bruce Peninsula.
Time, Anne-Marie Hadcock on doctors.
I think it's kind of funny how everybody says that doctor recruitment is such a big issue on this council when they temporarily got rid of their doctor recruitment committee a few years back. When I tried to run for council 4 years ago, doctor recruitment was a big issue for me. I moved up here when I was a small child, and since that time I have had, I think, 8 family doctors. It's like a revolving door. We had to do more to try to find doctors that are the right fit for this community. People that move up from the city, you can't just throw money at them and offer the money. It's not about the money. Are they a good fit for our area? Are they used to living in a rural environment? Are they used to living in our winters? We have to take a holistic approach to this. And I think that we have to start looking at our own young people. They're most likely, if they want to get into the doctor field, they're most likely the ones that come back because they understand us and they understand our community. And we need to start looking at funding for younger people to have them come back and open up practices. We need to support our people to come back and become doctors.
Gwen Gilbert on doctors.
Doctor Recruitment Committee started probably 15 years ago in this town, and it was very successful. And as Anne-Marie said, this last council did find a time that they quit funding this committee. And that is exactly why I said in my opening speech that we'll cement the Doctor Recruitment Committee with policy so that it will be difficult for any future council to ever remove the town again from its responsibility of protecting our health. And I believe council really needs to do that so that we can't end up in the same situation where no funding was going into this Doctor Recruitment Committee. They worked hard and they brought a lot of doctors to our town, and they supported them and helped them, their spouses find jobs, find a place to live, and that's exactly what we need. They like our lifestyle up here, and we need to support them in that.
Let's go to this microphone. This is for which category of candidates?
I'd like to address this, my microphone. I'd like to address this to the existing council, the 4 members who are running again. So my question is, one of the things that appealed to me with everything you guys said on your last election attempt was your transparency back to the people. And yet, when you take votes on certain things in your council meetings, and I, as a citizen and taxpayer, try to find out who voted yes or no on a particular issue, I'm told that it's confidential and I cannot know the answer to that. So why and how can I vote for you again when I don't know how you voted for me for the past 4 years?
Okay, let's start off with Kathy Durst to respond to that question. Kathy?
Can you hear me if I yell? Yeah. Okay, good.
No, we're recording the meeting. We have to have you on microphone. Sorry.
First of all, I wasn't aware, maybe I should be, that how I voted on any issue is not a matter of public record. Yeah, it is, and so one of the things that I do have all the time and is in front of everybody whenever they want it is my public information. My phone number, my email is not my work email, it's my personal email. Many residents call me at home. I answer them, I talk to them, I discuss issues with them. I'm very open about how I feel on the subject. I'm very open about how I voted on the subject. And if the policy is the way that it is, I can't change that. I can't.
I'd like to know why you can't change because it's an administrative policy, but I would like to hear from the other thing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Terry Bell, could you respond to that, please?
Well, I was under the impression that the vote was public knowledge, honestly. So I don't know.
Jay Kirkland.
There is a process called a recorded vote, and that is public record. In most issues, it's a show of hands on the way that the procedures run. Probably 90 to 95% of the issues are usually an all in favor situation on moving forward. So you would see everybody in council, and you'd see 5 yeses type of thing. If it's a controversial issue and I want you as the public to know how I voted on a controversial issue, I would request a recorded vote. That way, everybody on council would say yay or nay, and it is recorded. It is a public process.
My issue is around the unrecorded votes. When I phone and ask who voted for what, and I'm told I cannot tell you.
Yeah, because it's not recorded by the secretary, so.
My question is, are you going to continue with that ability to hide behind your vote?
I don't think I would ever hide behind a vote. If you want to phone me and ask me on my opinion or how I voted on an issue, I would be open and transparent and tell you. I have no problem with that.
Janice, please respond.
Thank you. So our council is not unlike any other council in Ontario, and it is a show of hands, unless it, as Jay said, unless it's a controversial issue, or if it's something that one of us feels very, very strongly about, we will call a recorded vote, and each vote is recorded accordingly. Are you aware that all of our council meetings are on YouTube, and you can watch those meetings, and you can watch the hands go up in the air? And you know, we created that in this term so that you can watch our meetings and hear our discussion and the debates and see how everybody votes. And I really urge you to tune in to YouTube/South Bruce Peninsula. And you'll see, pull up our latest meeting, it's up there right now. So please do that, and you'll see exactly how we do vote.
Okay, we're going to that next microphone, the lady in red. Isn't that a song? Yeah.
My question is to the mayors. What do you think of the new proposed legislative changes relating to the mayor's role and responsibilities in its Bill 3?
Don Tedford, please respond.
Is this the new superpower that's been given to the legislation for Toronto and Ottawa that you're talking about?
Yes, and it's also going down to the lower municipalities is my understanding.
What was that again, please?
My understanding is that also it's going to include lower tier municipalities.
I've not heard that as of yet. It's still just Ottawa and Toronto that are being, and there's only specific things that those mayors have other powers over council on, and then the number one item is housing. I think everybody's addressing housing. We've talked about housing here tonight, but I do see your concerns about it going down the ladder and including more items of legislation that will have the mayor making individual decisions, and also going down the ladder as far as other municipalities. But right now, my understanding is just Toronto and Ottawa, and it's only housing and one other issue, and I can't think of it, I'm sorry.
Gary Michi?
Yeah, I heard of their superpowers from Ottawa and Toronto. I don't know a whole lot about it, and I will look it up and look into it and see what powers they will have. As far as it going down the line, I've never heard of that either.
Janice Jackson.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a strong mayor legislation, and I'm assuming that it was brought into effect for the big cities, because a city like Toronto has 50 councillors. I can't imagine how they even get anything done, quite honestly. As far as it traveling down the line, it would have to go to other major cities first, like Windsor and Hamilton, and but as far as like small town municipalities, I think it's a horrible legislation. I would never ever support anything like that. As you know, if you watch our council meetings, I only vote when there's a tie. I can't imagine standing there and being the only person voting on behalf of the council. So I would hope that by the time that ever went down the pipe, and it would be years probably before that would happen, that enough municipalities would step up and say, hey, we don't want that power. And I'd be the first to sign it.
Thanks for your question. We go to this microphone, and this is for which category?
This is for the mayors.
Mayors, go ahead.
Well, specifically, Mr. Michi and Tedford, I'd like to know how you feel you can run for a position of mayor when you haven't spent even one day on a council. There is a lot that council does. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And you need to know how the whole council works and what the procedures are, that sort of thing. So with no experience in the background, why did you reach for such a position rather than, let's say, go with councillor for the first time?
Don Tedford, you can start.
I didn't quite get that question.
She's wondering about your experience. Why not go through the ranks and be a councillor first?
Boy, that's a big conversation. Yeah, there's a lot of discussion on that. I've been probably attended over 1,000 council meetings in my 47-year career. I've had 12 years on the school board and 1 year as chair. I've sat on lots of provincial boards, committees, and appointments down there.
just my background, my experience, I was approached and lots of discussions, whether, I know Natural Progressions Council, Deputy Mayor, and then Mayor. And I think Mr. Kirkland knows about that conversation for many years too. But that is natural progression. I was talked into what I'm doing right now, and I'm doing it based on my experience and where I can best serve. I'm 73, I am retiring, and I'd like to come up for 4 years and do the best I can for the town. And I think it's at that position where I've applied for. I put my nominations in for, and that's why the decision was made. Thank you.
Gary Michi.
Yeah, very good question. I've been a business owner for the Saltwater Spry Lake Camp for 18 years. I deal with 500 people, all have different personalities. At the end of the day, this town is a business. I have 24 years experience in municipal government, so I might not know what to do, but I know what not to do.
Janice, would you like to comment on that? The lack of council or deputy mayor experience?
Yeah, thank you for that. Yes, it is a business. It's a $12 million a year business. There's no question, but there's a tremendous amount of legislation that goes along with that and procedure, and it takes a councillor 2 years to get up to speed on their job and what it entails and how to deal with it. I simply, as a taxpayer, I'm surprised and disappointed, quite frankly, that anybody would want to bypass the learning curve to jump into that spot. I believe that it would put the town in neutral for 4 years, because 2 years of that to get to a councillor level, you got to be the whole 4 years before you'd ever kind of get up to a mayor's level. So I don't really understand why anybody would do that, but they did, and best of luck to you.
We're going to this question. Mike, go ahead.
Yes, this question is for Mr. Nietzsche. Most politicians do speak about transparency. Now, you spoke about transparency as well. Could you please elaborate and tell us what could satisfy this problem of transparency, in your opinion, and what you will do?
Thank you. We need to be more open with our council decisions. Leadership be provided to the council table and the council. Have more open discussions and inform the public of what's going on. And as Janice said, there is a YouTube channel, so if people would like to watch that and see how things go, they do have a communications officer in town hall, so there's different ways.
Sorry, we can't hear you. Start again, please.
You spoke about referendums and possibly leaflets and so on.
Well, apparently I spoke with Mrs. Durst, and apparently you can't have referendums, but you can still have, you can only have that in an election year. You can still have input with the public on different things like hub centers and what have you, but the public can still have a big say in that part.
Okay, we're going to go to Don on that transparency, please. Okay, let's go to the next question and go ahead.
As far as the transparency goes,
It's okay, no, it's okay. That was for Gary. Sorry. We're going to this microphone. Sir, nice and close to the mic, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ryan Gardos. I own 6 businesses in Sauble, so I'm pretty heavily invested. I know the community very well. I grew up, my first job was in Sauble Beach as well, so life brings you back around full circle. Just a couple comments. R207 is a regional tourism organization that supports tourism in the area. I approached the town 2 years ago about spending $10,000 that would have resulted in a $30,000 digital advertising campaign. I was told that the town doesn't have enough money to spend on promoting its biggest industry going into COVID. Huge disappointment, but it's frustrating. I personally spend $10,000 a year in that program every year. Parking spots have been taken away in Sauble. 250 parking spots were taken away over the last few years by limiting the beach parking, by removal of Central Park.
The question is, sir.
And the barricade
The
that
question
was put
is-
up. So my question is, see, I'm being forced into that. What will council, those of you running for council, do to support business in Sauble, support improving parking, and support density for seasonal employees?
Let's start with Matt Arthur, please.
Obviously, parking is a major issue in Sauble and needs to be addressed. As far as municipality goes, they need to invest in more property to be able to provide paid parking to provide for the local traffic. Parking passes for our local taxpayers, I think it's a must. To create more infrastructure and community involvement. As far as you're finding troubles with, I don't understand about the housing for employees.
Density, will you support density?
Well,
Directing staff to find density for us to get housing for seasonal staff.
yeah, there's a lot of campgrounds in the area that are very feasible as far as people being able to support themselves in that area, as buying a trailer and having a seasonal campsite. There does need to be more development in the area for sure for affordable housing.
Terry Bell, please respond.
I think parking, especially when you look at it at Sauble Beach, has always been somewhat of an issue. Not only to accommodate the people who attend the beach, but also from a safety perspective. And I think if there's going to be a review of the parking facilities in Sauble, it has to include a safety component as well. I know because I've taken my family to the beach, and during my council term I've gone down there and taken a look at the parking and the parking availability. But I'm just amazed that there aren't any more accidents nor mishaps, especially on Lakeshore Boulevard, because the parking is just car to car. And I don't know whether other people have had the same experience, but that forces people out onto the road, and it becomes a safety issue then.
Kathy Durst. I didn't forget you.
Thank you. As I mentioned in my remarks, my opening remarks, that I've had a long history in municipal government, and I can't think of a council, regardless of the town, regardless of the city, where parking, providing parking, having parking, anywhere in your town has not been a topmost priority. People hate to walk. So the opportunity to perhaps use in Sauble Beach, the community center, and have shuttles could be an opportunity. We will, of course, increase our parking stock when we're able to remove the Jersey barriers and go back to having proper parking. I certainly, as a councillor, am always open to any creative ideas that the business community might have to increase the availability of housing for our staff. But I can say that we have many conversations on parking, and we continue to do so and come up with some ideas.
Jerry Hunermatter. He no matter. And I even wrote the pronunciation guide down. He no matter. There you go.
Yeah. Well, I really think that it's time to get a management consultant who can work together with the businesses and find the solutions that are needed to make it workable for the business owners and the residents and the tourists that want to come in there. You need somebody who's a specialist in the area. They come in and work with the business and find the solutions that are needed.
Mr. Bill, you're on.
Thanks, Brian, for the question. The first thing I would do is remove the walls. Visible walls, but also the proverbial walls, sorry. You know, the town needs to do a much better job working with its local businesses, and that's the only way we're going to support employment in this town and support each other in this town. I believe that we should have a free parking pass for those that are paying taxes in this town. In terms of employees and helping seasonal employees, I think that's a good use of our MAT tax money, that we can subsidize housing for these seasonal employees so that they have an affordable place to live while being employed here in the town. Having the answers for funding opportunities, so you mentioned the RTO 7, making sure we have the answers and we can point businesses in the right direction. And then work with chambers for events. So one of the things that I did when I was employed with the town was the event with the car show. We shut down the main street, we had the car show, that street was packed with pedestrians. That's what we need.
Crystal Marler.
So I think we need to remove the wall. There is areas and room for people to park there in multiple different ways. Housing density, we definitely need more housing for seasonal employers or employees. So we need to look at ways that we can build smaller houses that aren't $50 million and $1 million houses that people are coming up to retire in. We need smaller houses that they can live and afford to be here and work for us. And then we need to work with the Sauble businesses. He mentioned RTO 7, and I don't exactly know what that means. Janice told me a tiny little bit, so I'd like to learn more about that, and I would be up for promoting businesses and spending money to promote our businesses in Sauble in our area.
And Craig and Stoffer.
I already did speak on parking. I believe utilizing the beach and private property to be a positive thing that we can do if environmentally sound. In relation to residential density, I'm not sure about how to house workers at this point. That's a question I cannot answer. A lot of what you say is something that I would want to speak with the businesses about. I want to hear what you guys have to say. I don't have all the answers. I'm running to represent you. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you.
And Anna.
Brian, I can understand when you say density. You mean changing the zoning, present zoning, and make a more dense than it is now? Is that what you were asking?
I think I'm trying to, expand on the fact that.
Or the density in a parking, or where to park?
Density in terms of septic use or using our existing infrastructure to allow for increased density on properties.
I see.
Not all properties, but certain properties to allow for seasonal.
I was in committee for 4 years, planning, zoning, and minor variance. You have to conform to the official plan, and you have to conform to a zoning. And that's where the council come and they change one way or another, but somebody can appeal it. So that has to become to a council if we're going to change that area, certain area, say for instance, DC area, development board, to do that. As for parking, those concrete blocks costing us the taxpayers money, and they're there for nothing, and they're impeding local businesses. They has to go. I hope I answered your question.
Okay, we have time for 2 more questions. So the 2 people at these microphones, that'll be the last questions for the day, and you're on.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Pilgrim, and I live in Sauble Beach. 5 years ago, my husband and I bought a resale home in Sauble Beach. Shortly after we bought it, we were invoiced a new resident fee of $30. So my question is for the mayor candidates. Maybe one of them or all of them can shed light on why this fee exists for new residents and whether they agree on it and if it's going to be increased in the next term.
Janice, can you start on this, please?
Thank you. So there is a $30 administrative fee whenever staff have to go in and alter things in the system. It's just a form of trying to keep the taxes down for everybody. So it is like a user pay thing. It's a $30 fee, and it applies to, any time that you have to go into the system and make alterations on the property, the ownership, title, all of that stuff. So I don't know that will ever change. It's been around for a very, very long time, and it predates me, that's for sure.
Gary?
That's the first I've heard of it, ma'am. So I guess we'll have to elaborate if one of us is elected and go from there to see if we can reduce it.
And John Tedford?
Yeah, I have not heard of it either. I guess we haven't changed any of our information where it's required $30 to change our address or something, so I'm not aware of it myself, but I would agree with maybe it can be reviewed in the future.
And this is the last question of the event. Go ahead, ma'am.
This question is for Gary Michi and Don Tedford. Justice Lemon noted that Bruce County mayors led by Janice Jackson was found to have unlawfully closed to the public at least 18 meetings relating to the purchase and use of a property for the improper purpose in violation in violation of the Municipal Act. So let me rephrase that since I have trouble. Justice Lemon noted that Bruce County mayors, led by Janice Jackson, was found to unlawfully have closed to the public at least 18 meetings relating to the purchase and use of a property for improper purpose in violation of the Act. This was related to Southampton. So, Gary and Donald, I would like to know how you would do things differently so that kind of thing doesn't happen again.
Okay, we're going to get Donald to start, and Janice, you will be able to answer this after. So Donald first.
And the question is...
She will be answering. Stand by, please. Go ahead.
What was the question, though, as far as...
Yeah, simple one-sentence question. Go ahead.
No. Based on the fact that there is history documented by a justice, that there were many closed municipal meetings, how would you do things differently so you didn't violate the Act?
Who's violating the Act?
Well, a mayor who would have a closed meeting found by a justice to violate municipal acts, how would you not put yourself in the position of being found to violating acts if you were a mayor for this municipality?
Well, I still don't, the mayor is responsible.
Let me make it simpler. Would you follow rules and regulations and policies and protocols as defined by the municipal act rather than make up your own rules if voted in mayor?
Well, the mayor has got a lot of different protocols, but anyways, as far as council acting as a group, the mayor is usually the one that breaks the tie. The voting goes on between the council members and the deputy mayor, and then if that's what and then the decision is made to break the tie by the mayor. What's that?
It was about following policies and procedures outlined in your job. Every job has rules and regulations, policies and procedures that you're required to follow. We have found numerous infractions of that, so how would you, as new mayors coming in, if elected, not have those cases against you because you refuse to follow rules and regulations? Would you follow them?
Yes,
Would you
definitely. If you have a regulation you have to meet, you'll follow those regulations. As a council, I don't know of a regulation that actually specifically says the mayor. So a council, again, would make the decision. The mayor might be responsible for explaining or going somewhere about that decision. But no, it would have to comply with the regulations. I just don't see where...
The mayor or CEO is always responsible for making sure the people that they lead follow those regulations. So would you be a leader who would lead that way?
You said yes.
That is correct. And believe it,
Okay, let's go.
There is a name for a bylaw pass.
We're going to Gary now. Gary, please answer that.
I just wanted to add that if you do make a bylaw that is not according to a legislation, it's called ultra virus and has no power.
Gary?
You have to lead your council as the mayor to follow all policies and procedures.
So at the county council level, it's the mayors of all 8 municipalities of Bruce County. And so this whole incident with the Southampton rectory happened back in 2017, and the property was purchased for the purpose of expanding the archives of the museum. I was not the warden at that time, but I sat on that council as a mayor. Somehow, during the process, the plans changed, and all of a sudden we were going to build a nuclear innovation institute. It kind of sideswiped me. I was totally against it. I put a motion on the table. There was a group of conservationists that wanted to save the manse, which I did too. We never intended to tear down the manse. We were just building an extension on the museum. And so they launched a lawsuit against the county because they wanted to save the manse. And I put a motion on the table with my council to stop this lawsuit and tell everybody we're not tearing down the manse, and let's go back to the original plan of just building an extension on the archives. And I didn't get support at the county council table. It was a tie vote, and a tie vote is a lost vote. And there were many times when we did go into closed session to discuss this issue, and the justice found that we did that improperly. And the whole thing was just a shame. It was awful. I regret it. I tried to stop it, and I couldn't.
Okay, that ends this part of the meeting, and I have thought when we did this meeting 4 years ago, the chamber was not anxious to have a live in-person session, so I think you guys did very well on that, so congratulations. So let's wrap up now. Each candidate gets, in the 3 categories, gets 1 minute to wrap up, and let's start with the mayors and Janice Jackson. 1 minute.
I appreciate everybody that's hung into the end. The next 4 years are going to see decisions that are going to determine the future of our town. And council's job is getting more complicated every single year, so having council experience is huge. But in the mayor's position, it's imperative. And I'm the only council candidate with any council experience at all. So it takes 2 years for a new council to learn the job, so having a mayor with less experience than a councillor is dangerous. In fact, it'll put the town in neutral for 4 years, but we can't afford to spin our wheels, and we certainly can't afford to look backwards. I've amassed an awful lot of experience and connections over the last 12 years, so please look at my brochure. My website has even more information. List of accomplishments is vast, and I proudly stand on my record. I spent 4 years working with a great council, and there's been no discourse, and we've worked very hard to advance our town. So I'm asking that you please re-elect my council, with the exception of Paul McKenzie, and take that 5th choice and make it a good one. So thank you so much. Thank you very much for coming today.
And Gary Nucci has 1 minute to wrap up.
Wow, based on the number of people attending today and 16 candidates running for 5 positions, the message is clear. It's time for a change. Thank you everyone for taking the time to attend the meeting today and the previous one in Sauble. Thank you to those who have welcomed me at your door. Our paths have crossed on the street. I continue to be as committed to becoming your mayor, your voice in leading a council with the interest and welfare front and center. As your mayor, I will be your voice in council. The leadership provided to council will be based on the best interests of all communities and resources within it. Council decisions will be transparent so that you know what's happening. We will work together with our neighbors in the Indigenous communities and bordering municipalities to protect and capitalize our resources. On voting day, when marking your ballot for mayor, remember Gary Nucci will work for you. Thank you.
And John Hedberg, mayoral candidate.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out, and it was a great evening. Again, I decided to put in my position for mayor because I thought it was the best position I could do to serve and look after the municipal matters for the residents, and I'm fairly looking forward to it. So I know the municipality from one end to the other. I've traveled it all, and I have a strong love for this municipality, and I think it's a great one to live in, a great one to grow with, and it does need to change in order for that to happen. And I look forward to being part of that change, and my family does as well. So thank you very much.
Deputy Mayor candidate Glenn Gilbert.
Folks, I know the complicated task and complexities of the job required of a deputy mayor. It's a big challenge. And electing myself as your deputy is most important for 2 reasons. My history, experience, and knowledge can be a great asset in assisting a new, inexperienced mayor. Or I can be a trained watchdog to an experienced old mayor. My years of learning, education, and local history, teamed with my moral and ethical compass, have provided the tools necessary for this role. As a proud, homegrown local gal who lived a city life for 10 years, we chose to move back to the beautiful Bruce to raise our family because it offered unique heritage, fresh air, clean water, and a safe, healthy environment, unmatched anywhere else. And it's my promise to you that I will work towards preserving these assets for our future generations. I'm thankful to share with you the historic value, knowledge, and experiences that I have acquired over the years in preparation to be your next deputy mayor. Thank you.
And we have just for the candidates, when you know the other person is about to wrap up, just go up and stand beside them so as we save time. Okay, Anne Marie, go ahead.
I'm going to keep this short. I think you should vote for me for deputy mayor because I am the right fit for this job. I'm an honest person, I'm hardworking, and yes, I don't have the experience, but I'm sharp and I'm a fast learner, and I'm going to pick this up as quickly as you can say it. And I think one thing that we have to remember, trust and respect, that is something that's earned. And I'm going to work every day to earn your trust and respect, and I'm going to listen to you. And I'm going to make sure that you have a community that fits, a community that works for you, not a community that works against you. So, mark your ballot and start fresh and start with somebody that actually cares. Thanks very much.
Jay Burton.
The dump, Boswell Recycling, our staff, I consider them second to none. We have a great staff. Roads department, fire department, asset management. These are things we did not get to discuss here today. I really would have loved to have just put more time into those things. They're major issues, especially our dump. In closing, I'm asking for your vote to keep me and my experience on council as your deputy mayor. I enjoy my job, and I believe my decisions are made, are made with the whole town in mind. From Elsinore to Howdenville, Hope Bay to Ellenford. We are one town. Everybody has the right to vote for me or not for me. And I do not like the ward system. I would like to keep the open election. You say it on when you mark the X for the person you believe should do the job the best. So I ask for your vote. Thank you. Jay Kirkland.
Okay, we have 10 candidates for council. 2 are absent today, Caleb Hall and Steve Moe. But let's start off with people who are here, obviously. Let's go with Matt Arthur.
Thank you to the chamber and to all concerned citizens. Speaking in public is not my number one forte as far as over the last years, but I do take this job serious, and you will get an honest answer from me. And if you have any concerns, I will address them. I do hear everyone with their platforms and the changes that are going on. Main concerns for the town hub, the metals development, Solid Beach parking, the STR, the land claim, ongoing concerns about the old grocery store, the fish farm, affordable housing, recycling programs. I hear your concerns, and I will find the answers for them. But until I'm elected, I can't find out the information on how to address it as a councillor. Thank you.
Terry Bell.
Sitting on council has been a wonderful experience as we each bring something different to the table. Seeing the differences we've made is something I'm very proud of, but there's still so much work to do, and I want to continue to push the important issues. I'm always advocating for community safety and youth programming, and we need to make sure the Propeller Club converts to affordable housing. We had a wonderful response from the LBP this summer, but in my opinion, we still need more police presence in South Bruce Peninsula. Doing our best to manage your money and always keeping your property tax increases to a minimum is critical to me. Thank you for joining us today, and I hope you'll allow me an opportunity to work for you again a second term. It would be an honor. Thank you.
Next is Kathleen Bruce.
As you will note on the front of my information, throughout my career in public service, I have been driven by my passion for service to the community. I am deeply rooted in the community. I remain deeply rooted in the community. Pardon me. As a counselor, I will act with integrity and honesty. Being a counselor is an extension of my life in community service. And I will end with invoking that well-known fount of wisdom, Dr. Phil. Past behavior is a very good extension, a good explanation for future behavior. It's a pretty good indicator of how I behave as I'm on council. I have behaved with honesty and integrity, and I will continue to do so. Thank you very much.
Jerry Hiegelmatter.
Well, thank you everyone for coming out. You know, when I decided that maybe I should run, it's because I'm not the kind of person that sits around and complains about things. I'm the kind of person that gets out there and does things to make change. And I believe that you all want to see some change. And, you know, while I've never been on a council before, I have worked in some, you know, business circles. I've been involved with other businesses and municipalities, councils, BIAs, and things like that, and made some really positive changes in a couple of the communities that I worked in, as well as I paid attention in some other ones. And I just want to tell you that it's not just about my family, it's about your family and what's best for our community. And that's what I want too. And that's why I'm running, and I believe you want change, so let's ride a wave of change. I would be honored if you vote for me. Thank you.
Bill Windenberg.
Thank you. I heard a lot of conversation today about transparency, and I think we need to make that a priority in terms of this council. How would I do that? I would bring back the committee of the whole so we can have wholesome discussions with you, the ratepayer. I think we need to look at our meeting times in terms of when we meet so that you can attend. I think most importantly, we need to reduce closed sessions so we can know how people vote. One of the things that caught my ear as we were talking here today was private emails. We need to make sure that town business is being done on town emails. Private emails, you can't search them through a freedom of information. So that needs to stop immediately. Just want to thank you again for today. Welcome you to go to my website to see my platform, and support, I hope you vote for me. Thank you.
Crystal Meyer for council.
Thank you everyone for coming. I want to share concepts and use a collaborative process when listening to others. People in power seem to actively work at manipulating things so they are in their favor. We need people in council that actively listen to all their constituents, listen to their businesses, admit mistakes. If this was the case right now, Wyerton downtown wouldn't look the way it does. We need a council that spends money wisely, not waste money on repeatedly appealing court decisions. We need a council that thinks of this whole area, not just Sauble and Wyerton. Unlike others, I won't dictate to you what to do. Instead, I hope you will use your vote to use my voice and get your opinion heard at the council table. It is time for change. I hope you use your vote to help me make the township of South Bruce Peninsula the best that it can be.
Brandon Stauffer.
I would like to thank you again for being here. Please reach out if you have any questions or concerns. My information can be located on the town website. Part of my initiative is I would like to incorporate more youth programming in our community. I would like to put an emphasis on our vulnerable sector. I am so pleased to hear more and more people and candidates speaking about our homeless since last all candidates meetings took place. They were one of the driving forces for me choosing to run. This is encouraging as everyone deserves for their voice to be heard. It would be an honor and a privilege to represent you. I love our community and would like to step up in a bigger way. I'm committed to serving the town of South Bruce Peninsula. Vote me, Craig Stalker, for councillor, and I will stay true to my promise of displaying honesty, integrity, and transparency. Thank you. Have a blessed evening.
And Anna Vukovic.
It's my privilege to stand here. 20 years ago exactly, I was a part of the citizen group, which was Paul Bolter, Larry Isbister, Matt Paget, and Judy Galaska. She was a school board member, and myself as a council. We fought so hard to bring $11 million from provincial governments to build this beautiful building. So now, I am telling you that we probably kiss every behind provincial and federal government to do this. So our kids will not be bused to the North Bruce. I heard recently that our kids are here getting a breakfast in the morning, which is very honorable from this community. As you know this, I don't have an election sign. This year, I decided to put this in a better use, and I'm donating those money to a breakfast for the kids for this school.
Thank you very much. That was taken care of. You get 10 more seconds.
I just want to say thank you very much, and when you vote for someone of this group that think that best represent you, and I hope I will be one of them. Thank you very much, and thank you to the chamber.
Thank you very much. Now I want you, before we leave, don't leave for a second. I want you to give a big hand to the people who are stepping forth to represent us on the stage here. And I think it's time for the candidates to thank the people who came here to support you guys today. So we have worked hard. We rearranged the format for these meetings compared to 4 years ago, and I think it was a little more fair and balanced. And I'm glad you guys came. It was a lot of work, and it was fun though. And we learned stuff. Okay, so vote. Okay, don't forget to vote. And Paul from the Chamber of Commerce has something to say. Paul.
I'd just like to say thank you to all the candidates and who stepped up to the plate. I hope everybody appreciates the time and the effort that goes into facing a crowd like this today. I do want to welcome our new president of the Chamber of Commerce, Laura List, and thank the Chamber for all the work that they've done today. And just a reminder to everybody, please be kind on Facebook. It's a disgusting behavior to trash anybody on Facebook. Please take the time to respect all the candidates on the stage today. Thank you.